prefer a man who lives and gives expensive joy.
To the yard, he ain't never leave his pretty ass pussy on God. Broke bitches too loud. Walk me to the back, I ain't coming through the crowd.
I'm sorry. Oh, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Okay, so I wanted to show that is actually somebody did a face tune to Lee Veltman, and actually I welcome. I thank you for being here. I see some of you already have comments. I'm going to take a look at it. So I just kind of put that together really quick, just to, I just thought it was funny. I laughed and laughed about it. And I want to share the channel that it originally comes from and give him a plug too. Give me just a moment here. I should have had this already planned out in terms of I realized before I started the show, I was like, oh, I don't have his video to give him a shout out. But I've actually played a little bit from this channel before, and I'm not going to really particularly go into give you an update on that whole scenario for a bit, because I'm going to show you the video that it came from, just so you know, because excuse me. Yeah, I don't want to, first of all, I'm my plan is to talk about James CASBOLT, and I was doing in school, actually, that when you do a show or a podcast, you should get right to the point on the topic that you're talking about, rather than milly-mousing around, with stuff. So I'm trying to, if you hang out long enough and you watch the video long enough, then you're going to see what I have to say about that. But let me share the screen here with the channel that it came from. This is LARPing Lee Veltman returns with nothing original. This is LARP Wars. And you know what? I think he just changed the name of his video, actually, because I think it was something Sniff Skin or something like that before. But I'm going to go ahead and share this. So if you want to subscribe, he's got some interesting comments on some of the people that are, some of the people that are in this media, and some of the people that have been doing some of the trolling and perpetrator. I don't know how many more receipts I need to get to prove what's actually really going on. But here it is at the end. He
Brain trap, listens to the yard. He ain't never leave his pretty ass pussy on God. Broke bitches too loud. Walk me to the back, I ain't coming through the crowd.
Okay, and then he goes on and talks about things that are.
Prefer a man who lives and gives expensive joy.
Anyway, I just think that's really I'm getting a kick out of it. Hey, everybody can be lampooned, right? The project people, I call them. Well, hi, Angel. Nice to Angel A. Pavlov's corn dog. Jay Cool, welcome. Good afternoon. Hey, Jeff. Always happy to see you here. And okay, so let's get to it. Before I show you this video about James CASBOLT, I want to read an article. I found some articles about him. He's interesting. There's a lot more. I think there's a lot more to contemplate about what's going on. And again, I kind of have a skepticism just naturally anyways. I mean, I originally I really bought into a lot of this, and then looking back, it makes me wonder. And I think it's really healthy to do that. It's really healthy to question a lot of things that are going on in the world. And what I'm learning, oh, by the way, I guess maybe I should say this. I did get my finals went really well. That's why I haven't been here. and my school went really well. The whole year, it's my first year, I got all A's and 1 C, and my C's in math. Okay, so math's not that easy, but I passed and I got my requirement done, and that's all I really need to get done anyways. My grade point average actually went up though, compared to what I had when I was in college before. And I also I'm going to be a student leader I'm going to teach, I'm going to tutor anthropology, biology, anthropology. I got asked because I was in the program myself, getting tutored while I was in the class. And they asked me if I wanted to have a position to tutor the class that I just finished. And I went to the interview and I got it, and I'm super excited. And it's a different subject for me to be involved in. Like, it's like kind of like out of left field from all the other things that I've done in my life. But the one thing I'm excited about is actually, I like the thought of helping somebody else, like helping somebody else pass their grades. And so anyways, I wanted to share that. So a few good things actually happened for me, believe it or not, despite all of the craziness that I've been going through here, having my channel and stuff. But I did, I don't know if you remember college, but finals can be pretty intense. So, but I got through it, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. I know maybe I'm like, oh, you feel good about yourself, but yeah, I do. I really think I accomplished. I grew, and that's what's important. I think is that we keep growing and expanding, and rewriting the path. Really, with new information, we have new knowledge, and that's how science is. Really, one thing I've learned about biology, anthropology, is that it's not set in stone. Like, everything changes with new information. And a lot of the things out there are several different hypotheses about what happened. It's not even a full theory yet in many ways. I mean, yes, the origin of the species is a theory, but anything is with new information, you have new knowledge, and who knows what's going to happen in the future, what we're going to find out about who we are, right? And another thing I wanted to share with you is if you have the Peacock, or I get the Peacock app on my iPad or my devices, and I found it's already been done. It's, I never saw it on the History Channel, but it's about Project Blue Book, and it's really well done. I think I'm on like the 4th episode. So I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It was originally on the History Channel. Let me see. Here we go. This is Jeff says CASBOLT supports Mark Richards, claims he served under him on the spaceship Richards commanded. That pretty much says it's all. CASBOLT is a fraud. It's really interesting. The woman Deborah director, Rose Blueprint, was saying something about, Captain Mark Richards isn't his real name. And I'm like, well, Mark Richards is his real name. The captain part's not real. Okay. That's the only part that's not real. Because Mark Richards really is in prison, and for quite, and the, you guys know, it's kind of interesting. He's been, allegedly, and I think he's in there for the right, there's somebody dead. I believe the trial. I'm going with what happened. I'm not buying. I do not buy the Carrie Cassidy. He's in there. They made it up because, he is in the SSP program, and UFOs and all this kind of stuff. And there's this, and incorporating that into a big cover up. I don't believe that. I think there's enough evidence to not believe that. And so anyway, Mark Richards has no middle name. Maybe he has a middle name, right? I mean, but it's not Captain, all right? Like Captain CASBOLT. I think I've heard that before coming from people. They give him the officer. So, okay, let's get to it. Let us get to it. I'm going to share an article in the Daily Mail. All right. And I want to read this. I want us to look at this for a moment first, because there's a few things that Why is that? No, I don't want a notification from you. Okay. How did a violent... Okay, here's the title. How did a violent fantasist end up marrying a billionaire's daughter? The astonishing story of the drug dealer's son who posed as MI6 agent before blackmailing Harris' wife for $3 million with explicit photos. James CASBOLT pleaded guilty, sending threatening texts and emails containing pictures of his ex. He first came to the police's attention age 15 for armed robbery. CASBOLT told Haley Meyer he had worked as a spy for security services. Friends knew him for walking around with a fake limp to mimic rapper Tupac. Sorry, it's not. You say Tupac, I say Tupac. I say Tupac, you say Tupac. Okay, not so long ago, James CASBOLT was one of the select guests at a gala dinner in New York. He cut a dash in his tuxedo, sipping champagne and enjoying the company of some of the wealthiest people on the planet. The de Rothschilds were at the black tie function. So too was billionaire tycoon Sir David Tang, a friend of Prince Charles, along with steel magnate Lakshmi Mittal. I might have not said that right, so if I didn't, I apologize. James CASBOLT, who has been jailed for 12 years at Truro Crown Court today. So there's a picture right there. The charity event. Let me make sure you guys see this all right. Okay, yeah. All right. The charity event at Sotheby's on Manhattan's Upper East Side was hosted by the Duke of Duchess of Marlborough to raise funds for the restoration of Blenheim Palace. I lost my place here. The ancestral family seat in Oxfordshire. Okay, so let me read that again. The charity evening at Sotheby's on Manhattan Upper East Side was hosted by the Duke and Duchess of Marlborough to raise funds for the restoration of Blenheim Palace, the ancestral family seat in Oxfordshire. A table at the exclusive do not cost $10,000 small change to those who attended. So what were James CASBOLT's credentials for being at such an event? As the daughter of a billionaire, Hank Meyer, a co-chairman of a giant American supermarket chain, glamorous blonde Haley Meyer CASBOLT was his entree into a gilded world. How else, to put it bluntly, would James CASBOLT, who is neither rich nor famous, have been mingling with society figures from both sides of the Atlantic? Given what has happened since, the same question must be uppermost in the minds of many in Miss Meyer's jet-set circle. But then, no one at that event 4 years ago could have imagined the kind of man James CASBOLT really was. Still less the extraordinary and disturbing chain of events that would unfold shortly after the soiree. Those events reached their denouncement this week when CASBOLT appeared in the dock in his native Cornwall. Like, I almost see this as a movie almost. You know, like, I guess maybe I've been watching too many true crime shows. Maybe I just watched this thing, the thing about Pam, also on the Peacock, played by Renee Zellweger, about a woman who killed one of her friends to get her life insurance policy. And, you know, it's interesting, okay? So these things get made into a movie, and why wouldn't somebody think about making a movie about this? I think this is interesting, all right? Like, if he is a complete scam artist, then look how he weaseled his way into this world. Sorry I'm saying the word weasel, but he worked his way, and he worked his way of seducing her by telling her he was a super soldier. See, he used super soldier status basically to get poontang. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to her. I mean, he married into a great family, but what happened afterwards and what he was doing online, you know, he was like a super soldier rock star, right? James CASBOLT. All right. Smartly dressed for the occasion, James CASBOLT told Haley Meyer that he had worked as a spy. Right there. Boom. Okay. The judge at Truro Crown Court, a man not given to hyperbole, called him evil before jailing him for 12 years for blackmailing Haley, from whom he had split in 2013. CASBOLT had demanded money in exchange after removing sexually explicit pictures of his estranged wife from the internet. The 39-year-old had told his family that if his demands were not met, he could tickle the public interest for years. And Haley was not his only victim. He also stalked 2 young British women, offenses reflected in the severity of his sentence. The story of how James CASBOLT, a loner from St. Ives, inveigled himself into, then proceeded to terrorize a super rich American dynasty, Hank Meyer and his brother Doug, are worth $5.5 billion, according to Forbes magazine, has the elements of a psychological drama and at times a spoof spy film. What did I say? All right, here we go. For CASBOLT, as absurd as it may seem, portrayed himself as a British version of Jason Bourne, the fictional CIA assassin played by Matt Damon in the Bourne movies, to attract and manipulate women. His CV posted on the internet reads like a COD secret service file. Names James CASBOLT. Rank commander. Oh, that's right. It's Commander James CASBOLT. Commander, military bases work, Boscombe Down, RAF, Lincoln Heath. CASBOLT goes on to claim that he worked for MI6 and a string of other intelligence agencies, and during his career with the security services, took part in sinister government programs to create genetically engineered super soldiers. James CASBOLT first came to the attention of the police when he carried out an armed robbery in Cornwall. Along the way, he says he suffered amnesia, just like Jason Bourne, funnily enough. It is difficult to believe that in the cold light of day, anyone could believe such far-fetched tales. But one of those taken in by Commander CASBOLT was Haley Meyer, who went on to have a son with him. The 2-year-old lives with her in the U.S. Okay, then this is like, obviously, the little boy, I think, is like close to 8 or 9 years old now. But so this is probably about 7 years old. Sadly, see, any woman can fall for this. Anyone that's right. I mean, I didn't fall for James CASBOLT, but you know, I fell for somebody who claimed that they were an CIA NSA contractor. So you know, we get taken by these things. Sadly, for Haley, there were only one thing her husband did to have in common with the Secret Service operative. He was extremely dangerous. These are the judge's words, not mine. Wow. Let's read that again. Sadly for Haley, there were only one thing her husband did not have in common with a Secret Service operative. He was extremely dangerous. Quotation marks. These are the judge's words, not mine. CASBOLT was just 15 when he came to the attention of the police for an armed robbery on a Spar supermarket in Carbis Bay near his home in St. Ives. His previous conviction emerged during the latest court case. Few details were given, but CASBOLT boasts about the robbery in his autobiography, which is still posted on the internet. Who knows if his former wife knew of his existence or even took the trouble to read it? If she had, surely she would have been chilled to the bone. I stuck my replica Beretta pistol in the face of the girl behind the till and demanded the money, writes CASBOLT. My friend made a few of the people who were standing around go to the back of the shop as he held them at gunpoint. The girl went pale and became unresponsive. As I demanded the money, I jumped over the counter and tried to open the till myself. I didn't know what button to press, so I began to push randomly. And then with the caption on the photo here, it says the pair married in 2011, shortly after the gala dinner at Sotheby's. However, Haley's family have already seen through CASBOLT. Her father was opposed to the relationship from the start. Tere Crown Court heard. An alarm went off on the till, and the people in the back of the shop began to shout. I panicked. We ran out of the shop and ran home. We told my father that what we'd done, and he seemed very proud of me. My father hid the replica guns at the back of the flat for us. The next day, the robbery was on the local news, and my father seemed even more proud of me. His father's reaction is easier to understand when you learn a little more about his history. Ostensibly, Peter CASBOLT ran a business importing antiques, but it was just a front. In reality, he was a drug-dealing gangster with a string of properties on the Costa del Crime. He spent much of his life in and out of prison. He died age 53 from drink and drugging-induced liver failure in 2003. Like father, like son. In other words, the two may have pursued different criminal paths, but they seem to have shared the same psychotic streak. James CASBOLT eventually served 28 days in Feltham Young Offenders Institution for the robbery at the Spar supermarket. He never really looked back. So there he is doing the OK sign, which that has multiple meanings, right? Any chance he had to make something of his life disappeared with his parents split up when he was 17. He left Cornwall to live with his father and his second wife in Reading, Berkshire. He acquired a stepbrother in the process. Simon Millward is now 33 and spoke to us this week. He was reluctant to tell us everything he knew, but said James spent the remainder of his teenage years and his 20s ducking and diving for his father and smoking too much pot. He said James had never had a proper job. I've seen all the stuff James has been writing online about MI6, he said. It's to impress women. It's amazing how many people have been taken in by it. And then the caption on the picture with him giving the OK sign, James CASBOLT walks to Tere Crown Court, where he admitted sending threatening texts and emails containing pictures of his ex, as well as posting images and bizarre claims about her online. By the time he met Haley Meyer via the internet in 2009, CASBOLT, who has a 13-year-old daughter. Well, wait, I skipped something here. James is a very intelligent guy, and that's how he wrote people in. By the time he met Haley Meyer via the internet in 2009, CASBOLT, who has a 13-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, had built up a dedicated online following for his outlandish claims and adventures. But how did he worm his way into the life of someone so privileged? Haley's family home in Michigan, until her parents divorced a few years ago, was a mansion with a marbled hallway, central winding staircase, sunroom with grand piano, wine cellar, gym, and a home cinema. CASBOLT, by contrast, had returned to Cornwall following his father's death and was living with his mother at her small terraced home in St. Ives. Friends from his school days describe him as a loner. Wow, haven't we heard that description before? Who was known for walking around the Cornish town with a fake limp to mimic his then teen idol, the late rapper Tupac. Miss Meyer, who describes herself as a singer-songwriter and music producer, worked briefly as a web designer for a record company after studying art history at Western Michigan University. But in truth, she was rather a lost soul looking for a purpose in life. You know, I kind of have a problem with that particular line there because in a way I feel like the writer is kind of being biased. Did she say she was a lost soul looking for a purpose in life? He doesn't quote her. He makes an assumption. And I kind of find fault with that. Anyway, let's move on. James CASBOLT, it seems, provided that purpose. Within months of striking a relationship with them online, he came to Britain and moved in with them and his mother. They were engaged not long afterwards. That she was infatuated with them is evident from this posting on an internet forum. Being engaged to James CASBOLT, I hear all sorts of stories of his experiences in underground bases and cloning facilities. And I feel I slurred that word, and cloning facilities, as his memories came flooding back and he works to heal and overcome his past trauma. It is fascinating, she wrote. Of course it's fascinating. It makes fantastic fiction. Indeed, the pair married in 2011, shortly before the gala dinner at Sotheby's. However, Haley's family had already seen through CASBOLT. Her father was opposed to the relationship from the start. Truro Crown Court heard. Their wedding reception, such as it was, took place at the 4-star Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in his Myers hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan. It is a perfectly good hotel. The most expensive suites cost £400 a night, but it's certainly not the kind of establishment where you would expect a billionaire's daughter to celebrate the most important day of her life. It is unclear whether any of her family even attended. It's a private matter, said the spokeswoman for the Meyer Corporation when he asked them this week. Tellingly, perhaps, only one photograph of the big day could be found. It shows the couple sitting on their bed in their hotel room. He's wearing a dark shirt and jacket. She is wearing a plain white dress. Just a few months after their nuptials, CASBOLT joined the Army, U.S. Army in Texas. His service record reveals that he was discharged a year later in December of 2012 after failing his advanced training curriculum. So, according to the Daily Mail, he was discharged. So all of you guys out there saying he did this and accomplished that and did that with the U.S. Army, doesn't look that way. Not according to what's in the media, in the news. I mean, this is supposed to be fact-checked. And whatever quotes they have here, whatever information they've dug up, they're supposed to, support their sources. So, you can sit back, behind your webcam or talk on your cell phone or whatever and do videos talking about all this stuff about what he is and isn't or what you think is going on. But here's what's considered to be legitimate about James CASBOLT. Okay? Your wife gave them to you because she loved you. The photos and videos were of a personal nature and not for anyone else's eyes. But she discovered from his mobile phone that he had shown the pictures to other people. Miss Meyer felt betrayed, but gave him another chance. CASBOLT repaid her by becoming increasingly violent. See, I didn't know he was violent. On one occasion, following a disagreement, he jumped on top of her on their bed and shoved her head into the mattress. She was cradling their baby son at the time. Let me repeat that because I stumbled there a little bit, and I think this is an important sentence to read. CASBOLT repaid her by becoming increasingly violent. On one occasion, following a disagreement, he jumped on top of her on their bed and shoved her head into the mattress. She was cradling their baby son at the time. She kicked him out of their flat in Texas and began divorce proceedings. It was the beginning of a nightmare ordeal. CASBOLT returned to Britain and began sending her threatening emails. He first warned her, I will now release porn pictures of you to the world. He immediately carried out that threat and posted them on Facebook. And another email, he said, 2 million, put it in my bank account. I will then stop talking about the Meyer family. Wow. Now, remember this, because the video I'm going to show you will be all about him talking about the Meyer family. And I believe this video that I'm going to show is the last video that he may have made. It was his first time at the barge, but it was after his separation from Haley. Because you can tell. If my terms are not met, I can tickle the public interest for years until the Meyers are so infamous in the world they will not be able to walk down the streets safely. Wow. And guys, this is the danger of what could happen about some of the conspiracy theories that people are saying that are being up online. Ultimately, you could, when you go off, trolling somebody or whatever, I don't know. I just think that, he compares Haley Meyer's father to Pindar, the reptilian overlord or whatever, right? And if people have lost it thinking that is obviously true because it's coming from Commander James CASBOLT and decides that, I'm going to brandish a gun and go get, Mr. Meyer, who's to say that that's not going to happen? Or let's be conspiracy theorists. Who's to say that somebody isn't MK Ultra mind controlled to do something like that? I mean, yeah, that's just awful. And he said it out loud. He threatened them. He not only did he bribe her, blackmail her, but he threatened to put her family in danger. Unbelievable. According to this article, right? While on bail, he targeted 2 young women from Cornwall. While he's on bail, guys, one was a hairstylist, Simone Everett, and whom he had known since he was just 14. The other was former Great Britain junior surfer Tassie Swallow, who was chosen as Olympic torchbearer. She took over the flame from sailor Ben Ansley at Land's End. The women were left fearing for their safety after receiving threatening and offensive Facebook messages. They were sent links to Slender Man, a sinister figure from internet horror fiction. And this is just popping to my head, so I'm going to say it right now because it's coming to my mind. Lauren Pritchard, I saw the title of a video come up where she says, I don't have to defend James CASBOLT. James CASBOLT, or something like, James CASBOLT told me not to defend you because, they're twin flames and talking psychopathically. Freudian slip, psychically, apparently. And he's telling her that she not to defend him. Well, you know what, Lauren, this is a lot to defend. This is a lot to defend because who's to say that this isn't just as true as those of you who believe the fantasies or the things that he says. And I know I'm saying fantasies, maybe they're not fantasies, right? Because let's just leave that open. But who's to say that what he says is more credible than what's being said right here in the Daily Mail? And then I know as sure as I'm saying this, that some of you guys are going to be out there going, oh, well, this is the big cover-up. This is the big cover-up. Just like it's the big cover-up for Captain Mark Richards. Oh, God, forgive me for saying Captain. Mark Richards. He's just Mark Richards. He's not a captain. I don't think so. Oh, we want to keep UFOs so silent that we're going to imprison these guys. We're going to keep cloning so silent that James CASBOLT is a freaking hero. I don't see how, really, some of you ladies out there that are making him out to be this great guy, why won't you look and take into consideration what this is? CASBOLT also approached 20-year-old Miss Swallow on the street, posting her reaction on Facebook this week. She said, "No matter how safe you feel in a small town community, you should always be careful. Girls, ladies in particular, tell your moms where you are going and who you're with. You never know who's about and what might be acceptable in their heads." She added, "Thoughts are with the U.S. family. Bet they're heaps relieved after today's hearing. I know I am." Okay. I don't know if the author should have put that opinion in there. I have a problem with that. We don't need to know what the author thinks, the reporter thinks. When CASBOLT appeared in court last year, his legal team raised questions about his mental state, but the judge said there would have to be something quite exceptional in the psychiatric reports to stop him from standing trial. In the end, CASBOLT pleaded guilty. Before he was sent down this week, the sentencing judge told him, "You are not suffering from a mental disorder. The circumstances of these offenses reveal a highly intelligent and criminal mind. You were not mad, but you were bad." That's a funny line. You were not mad, but you were bad. There is little doubt that every member of the Meyer family would second that. There's little doubt that every member of the Meyer family would second that. All right. So come back to here. Okay, so Joanne, CASBOLT is out, happily engaged and living with his partner and daughter now. How do you know that? I'm just curious how you know that. Are you in communication with him? Who told you that? Because I've also heard that Miles Johnston said that he was admitted into Broadmoor, that psychiatric ward that Jimmy Savile hung out in. That's the latest. He's not communicating with Miles, to my knowledge, yet. And he did communicate with John Irwin, but John Irwin won't say anything to anybody about James CASBOLT. So I'm just curious where you're getting this information. I have to ask, because like, that's a big statement to say. CASBOLT is out, happily engaged and living with his partner and daughter now. Okay. If you want to respond to me at any point, like if you're gone from my show right now, you made that comment, you left or whatever, and if you're still here, say something. Let me know. I want to know who said this. Like where did you hear that information at? Because I can't just accept something like that just because it's a statement right here in my chat room. And I think we need to ask these questions. Like, we need to stop, accepting people who are, saying things like, "Oh, I'm connected to him psychically. I'm his twin flame. I'm birthing these babies for him." This whole scenario is what? Like, the things that have come out afterwards, what we've done in this media afterwards is also quite interesting to watch. Is it a troll? Do you think this Joanne Macaro is a troll? Or is she just maybe afraid because I put her on the spot right now and she doesn't really have an answer for that? But I leave it open to you if you can make a comment after this video is over and let me know. Oh, here you are. Oh, okay. So Holly Baglio, you're quoting Holly Baglio. You know what? I will ask Holly Baglio how she knows that he's married, or no, or he's engaged. Because, yeah, I'm gonna ask Holly. How would Holly know? How would Holly know? Really, seriously, how would Holly know that he is with his family? I've had Holly on my show recently. Like the last live stream I did about a month ago, the spring break one. At the very end, she joined. We talked about a little bit. I've interviewed her. I mean, I've in contact. I'm not hearing any James CASBOLT stuff. Okay, Joanne. I appreciate that. I'm good. I really I don't think. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I seem pissy a little bit. You know, I just sorry. Okay, I apologize for that. I like being in that episode. Yeah, hi Nate. That was fun. Yeah, I actually have a clip of that episode in the video I did about Charles being gone, and I'll get to that later because I feel like I'm distracting right now on things. Okay, so let's watch the video. And again, look, I'm gonna try. Whoops, why am I stuck? Okay, I'm gonna try to. I want to leave this open to what you guys think. Like, I'll share what of course, I'm gonna pop off and say what I'm gonna say, but you know, I want to see all conversation, and I'm open to your comments on the video afterwards. I just want to open the dialogue for this. All right, and so let's go for it. This video was from the Tinfoil Man, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. I will make sure that that I let's see, where am I here? I had it all placed, and then I watched videos today and sort of messed it up. Here it is. Super Soldier. It's titled Super Soldier Michael Prince CASBOLT, James CASBOLT, and I kind of love. This is a good one. All right, so come on, let me post this. Let me get it, copy it. And okay, here we go. All right, so this is the real this is the video. So if you want to subscribe, this guy this channel has a lot of nice a lot of videos archived that are hard to find now about super soldiers. So I've subscribed to him. All right, so let's look at this. Do you guys hear that okay? Did I get the volume right? Okay, well, let's make sure. Sorry. Lipstick's mixed up here.
And finally, the Basis Project first conference has the very first public appearance of
Angel. I saw you say that you're subbed to him and there's no notifications. I don't think he live streams. And I'm not sure how long it's. I'll check his channel out here in a bit, but I'm not sure how often he uploads.
the infamous James CASBOLT, aka Michael Prince. Let's make it very clear, on most normal levels, James comes over as a fake and a fraud. If you look very carefully, people say he's lying. I am suggesting that we need to look at this very carefully indeed. This will essentially be the closeout of any coverage I'm doing with CASBOLT. What he's saying in this series of statements, which he made public.
Wow, Miles looks like he has a sunburn.
Including his public statement of mass assassination of people at Sotheby's in the United States.
So that's that big event that what we just talked about in the article, Sotheby's. So that's the gala event where they had all the royalty. So here we go.
If he's done all this, the police should be around and pick him up and lock him away. There are too many questions every time he speaks. On the face of it, he's a clear fantasist, a fraud. During this lecture, certain people contacted me.
Do you hear what he just said? He's a clear fantasist and a fraud. And this is on old video. So Miles, if you look at the way Miles is, like, does this compute? Right? He's basically saying, unbelievable.
And confirmed that he did assassinate a drug dealer in Hyde Park, which he mentions in a previous basis. Secondly, another person knew and met James when he was 8 years old and confirms James's story about drugs and drug dealing and drug taking. His father, who went to jail and died shortly afterwards, is all confirmed by a person in the audience. The bottom line is it's all very bad news. James also says he volunteered, he opted for the dark side. So one way or another, this is not good news. What I am concentrating on is who is running CASBOLT. What's behind all this? Why should a loser, a fake and a fraud end up marrying and having a child with one of the most rich and prominent Jewish families in the world? Why would they bother allowing their precious daughter to even associate with such a loser, a fake and a fraud? There are too many questions here. And for this reason, the Basis Project presents raw data for others to analyze and check and do their own research for. So this is James CASBOLT. That is Mike.
I appreciate Miles on this because he's giving different sides of the story. He's asking questions. Why would the Meyer family allow them to be with James CASBOLT? Well, from reading the article, they may not have supported it. It doesn't look like their wedding was a big deal. So, yeah.
Michael Prince at the very first Basis Project conference in the Barge Inn, April 27th, 2014. Fake, fraud, fantasist, or something else. Make your own mind up. Do your own research. Look at things in the broad, in the wide, and in a close up, and be very careful where you tread on this. This is the matrix we're dealing with, to use a rather overused word. Be very careful. And I'm fully aware that I'm playing with fire. And the gecko, or the gecko, the lizard brass artwork on the wall, specially put up just before the conference started, is the Celtic sign of fire. So yes, we are playing with fire here. Michael Prince at the Barge, April 27th.
Interesting opening, right? And then he takes it, Miles takes it even to a farther conspiracy. So what's even behind this? Obviously he's done these things. Here's confirmation of him doing these things. He is a dangerous man. And then what's even behind that? And how did he get his way into the, an elite family like that.
Okay, my name is Miles Johnson. This is the Basis Project, and beside me we have one of the most controversial interviewees that I've been doing over the last 20 years.
Yeah, Michael. I'm going to respond to your question there. The other video, the first part one, I believe is one of those videos one of the videos that he made right before he went to. Yeah, I'll make sure that it's on my channel. I did it about maybe a couple months ago.
Basic concept is he telling the truth? Is it real? Is it all fiction, faction? What's involved? Big mystery, lot of controversy. So this is the very first time that we have Michael Prince to speak in public. We'll have questions and answers afterwards, although Michael, if you want to have an answer questions, it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'll do it at the end.
Yeah. So this is Michael's very first presentation, and we let you take it away. Just let me get it away.
Okay, so you all know me. Let me have a look at you all. So who here is familiar with the Maya Inc. crime family? Raise your hands. Nobody? One? Okay. That is...
Okay, I want you to pay attention to something here in terms of his body language, because I took a speech class, persuasion speech, and one of the things was like, how can you tell if somebody's lying or not? And one of the signs, and it doesn't mean that this is happening, doesn't apply to every situation, person could be nervous or whatever, but whenever somebody lies, they fidget and scratch a lot. Just watch how many times when he says it and when he's moving his body and scratching, and like this, like that right there can be considered something that someone who is going to lie about something would do.
My son is part of that family in America, and that is a Rothschild family, and the family it's the most financially and politically powerful family in America. And it's, I mean, the family
and that's the family that you want to fuck with, right? That's the one that you're going to try to blackmail their daughter with. That was not a smart move, James.
Is effectively a sex and death cult.
All right, so did you hear what he said? Family is a sex and death cult. So remember when I read in the article about how he would make her family infamous so that they couldn't walk safely on the street? That's part of it right there.
Problem with that, but we're not going to make the we're not going to get the Jewish princesses pregnant and then become derogative, and today would be even considered to be racist. Us decide. You know, that's the bottom line with it. Who's familiar with Pindar here?
Here we go with
The head of the
Pindar.
Illuminati. A few people.
Pindar. All right, he's gonna like compare her father. He's saying that her father is Pindar, the shape-shifting. Well, you know what? Let me look up Pindar really quick. I'm sure you guys know, but I just want to get the right thing down. Pindar. Pindar was an ancient Greek lyric poet from Thebes. Oh, wow. I didn't know that was true either. Did you know that? So it's a poet from Thebes, Pindar reptilian. Let me write reptilian in here. Oh my God. Have you noticed that a lot of these guys, if you Google their names, they have another person's name as famous as they are? They have a famous person's name, but you don't really, anyway. Okay, science fiction, alien reptile conspiracy at the heart. Well, it is. All right, just trust me. Pindar the Lizard King. That's it. According to David Icke, the hierarchy goes like this: reptilian royalty, winged reptilians with the highest case be the albino type, similar to Pindar. He's the Lizard King. So, Pindar is his ex-father-in-law. Okay. Here we go.
Okay. His identity has never been revealed before. And that is...
And James CASBOLT is revealing the Pindar for the first time. I just happened to marry Pindar's daughter. Okay. And, all right.
The father of my wife, she's still legally my wife, is Pindar. And his name is Hank Meyer. He's a billionaire in...
See, like, oh, I got to think about what he's a billionaire. Like, what is he a billionaire for again? Because this is a fact I better come up with, right? Since he is Pindar, right?
He's the vice chairman of the Gerald Ford Presidential Foundation. And you can all go on that website. You'll see him listed there as like I said, the vice chairman. And if you go into the officer and trustee section, you'll see the officers and trustees listed there, his close friends, as Henry Kissinger, Donald Rumsfeld, Alan Greenspan, and a few other well-known names in that family. You know, they're trying to steal our genes in that effectively and breed us, our bloodline, into that family because it's a Jewish family. And, you know, we're not going to, like I say, we're not going to make these Jewish princesses pregnant and then
Wow.
Have our babies and then just be cast aside. You know, that's not going to happen. They run the financial
that's his
on the ground
about what's going on. You know, just think about that for a minute. You know, he didn't try to blackmail her or publish private photos of her, right? And, you know, commit violence. They just want his DNA because it's so special and they need it.
When it comes to technology, I have that power, and which is equal to their power, and is effectively it's more powerful. I mean, you all know my history. I was so you'll say you don't, okay. I was raised in a Jesuit orphanage in Canada, in British Columbia, and I spent from 1976 there to 1979 in this place. I've been involved with Opus Dei heavily. I've been involved with the Vatican heavily, and I was indoctrinated into MI6 SIS at 5 years old.
See, he rubbed his nose while he said that.
And I was trained. I came over to England in...
I'm pointing out the physical tics when he says something, because if you pay attention, you'll notice it.
79. You know, I settled into England in the early 80s.
And when you do that, that often signifies that somebody is lying.
With a foster family. That's the CASBOLT family. and I was indoctrinated into that. I started live operations in my teens with them, and that was under the cover of drug wars.
Rub the back of my neck.
In London and in areas like Brighton. I was given diplomatic immunity in my teens, and I killed my first man when I was 16 years old in Brighton, and that was a child porn ring that was being run there.
Okay, but look how, like, where he brought that in, like, oh my goodness, well, that justifies it, right? Right?
There was a guy involved in that, and I shot him outside a place called the Sharp Bar on the Brighton seafront in broad daylight in front of.
I got a scratch. I'm telling a lie.
Multiple witnesses. I've got over
Rub my face again.
200 confirmed kills since I was a teenager, all through the 90s and from 2000 to 2012. And then I was, after that, I was traded over to the NSA, and I moved to America. Spent the last 3 years in America, as you probably know. I returned to this country in October last year. I was effectively forced out of the country for legal reasons, and I'm wanted nationwide.
I got to stretch my neck again.
In America. I've got an extradition warrant for me in America. No matter what state I enter America in, I will be extradited to California to stand trial. And I'm wanted nationwide there. I entered the U.S. Army in 2012. I was fast-tracked in, and I was given my green card through the Army. It was expedited. So
he was fast-tracked in, but according to the article from the Daily Mail, he wasn't able to complete his training, so he got discharged. He didn't do his tasks. He didn't achieve his tasks for training, so he's discharged.
The process was speeded up because they had to get me in before my 35th birthday. Because you have to enter basic training in the US Army before you're 35. I'm 37 now. I was in something called the Future Soldier Program before I was officially enlisted into the US Army.
Rub my face.
And I was on that program for about around 12 months. And then I started basic training at a place called Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. And I was put into the most elite unit, most elite infantry unit in the US Army.
Most elite unit. I'm so itchy.
A group called Echo 210. And I spent 9 weeks basic training with this unit for a place called Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri.
Wait, I'm going to see what you guys are saying here. Okay, let's see. Mark says, Future Soldier Program. Okay, I'll keep going. Hold on.
Then I was shipped to a place called Fort Sam in Texas, in San Antonio there. And I spent about a year there.
Before I got discharged.
My son was born.
I spent a year before I got discharged. Okay, stop me.
My son was born on my birthday, December 28th. it says on his birth certificate that he was born at a military test facility on the base.
See? Oh my God,
Yeah.
scratching his head again.
And I can't remember all the details because I'm so chipped up.
I can't remember all the details because I'm fucking lying.
But he was born at the end of 2012. I finished.
Fidget.
You know, the base was called Fort Sam Houston, and there's connections Houston to the space program, which I won't get into now. And then I left the U.S. Army around December 2012, and I was put straight into the NSA.
Okay, scratch,
From there,
scratch.
NSA are based in 3 places in America: San Antonio, Maryland, and Denver.
You just lost you.
Okay.
Sorry. There you go. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
So where was I? Yep, I was put in, recruited out the NS. I was recruited from the Army into the NSA in 2012, and I was again working as an assassin on an assassination campaign there.
It seems
Against a
like
Rothschild.
every time he might be telling a story, he scratches something, or it's got a pattern.
Our banking family, a lot of that was in New York. You've probably seen the pictures of me with the Duke of Marlborough at Sotheby's in New York, and we were officially, I mean, Miles has seen some of the documentation from NSA, my name on it. Officially, it was the NSA.
I got to scratch again. Has Miles ever published any of the things that he said? And if you do, if you know this, please put it in a comment on this video. I'd like to see, because he says a lot of things during this about, oh, Miles has this. Miles has this document. I'd like to see the documents. Wouldn't you? I mean, what's going on here? In September 13, he had a serious domestic fight with his wife. With the wife, he was unloading some serious lie on James Rink, who was texting me, relaying as it was going on. Wow, thank you, Thermal Mermaid, for that information. The Meyer family, the 153rd richest billionaires in the world. Yes. Yeah, they are. They all knew it was a lie, but some of them still carried the story. You know, why is that? Because it makes money, probably.
But I was working with a unit, it was actually Opus Dei again in the Vatican. And there was a hit carried out in Sotheby's around this time.
Oh, and this is just a great story. Just could you imagine if this was acted out in a film? Here we go. I got it scratched.
It was against Evelyn Rothschild. Who's familiar with Evelyn Rothschild? A few people, yeah. Probably richest man in the world. Not a billionaire, actually a trillionaire, this guy. So rich that the man can build colonies on Mars, believe it or not. And
now you can't stop watching him scratch, right?
On this night, I was there. By the time my son was 6 months old, he'd already been on 14 plane trips around America to different states. And I was because when I was involved in the assassination campaign, I took my family with me to the places where I was going, my son and my wife. And the night at Sotheby's, we arrived there, my wife, my mother-in-law, Deborah Meyer, and there was a kind of mini riot going on outside. We had pulled up in the car. There was riot police there. It was the Occupy Wall Street people who were outside demonstrating. And, you know, that's actually a CIA front, as people probably know, or maybe they don't. So we got out of the car, and there was, you know, people running up to us. I was like in a tux and bow tie. And there was people running up to us saying, "Hey, mother, you're going up there to count some money," and like just hurling abuse at us, you know, hurling abuse at my wife, saying like "F you" and your dress and things like that. And we went up there and met the Duke of Marlborough, and there was Lady Henrietta Spencer Churchill, who's his daughter. She was there, and it was an auction. It was actually an auction at Sotheby's that night. It was a fundraiser for Blenheim Palace, and we, you know, I mean, we sat down, we had our meal and everything, and the Rothschild entourage was sat. We were sat to the left. The Rothschild entourage was sat in the middle of the room. On the table, there was about 9 of them sat there in the middle, and Evelyn Rothschild was with them. Most of the people there had their pictures taken and were put on a website called the New York Social Diary, and people can look that up. And Evelyn Rothschild wasn't actually photographed that night, but he was there. So, you know, I picked him out of the crowd and went into the lavatory there. And there was, you have attendants at these places in the lavatories, you know, they give you aftershave and stuff like that. And the attendant in there was an Opus Dei operative. And I went in, he gave me the signal, and I went into one of the stalls, and there was, it had already been prepared beforehand. There was a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol taped underneath the cistern, and there was a Heckler & Koch submachine gun in a compartment behind the wall there. And I untaped the pistol and cocked it and put it in my waist, and took the machine gun out and just held it in my hand. There was nobody in the lavatory at that time. Just held it in my hand and cocked it.
Okay, where have we seen this before? Yeah, that would be La Femme Nikita. Like the whole scene about going to the bathroom and then having the gun there for you, and you realize you're on a mission. That's all La Femme Nikita, all in a movie. That's not original. Now, granted, it could actually happen, but...
And then walked out, and the Opus Dei operative gave him the signal, which is always in Latin, you know, and that's it kind of puts you in the mode there. And I simply just walked out and walked over to the table and started shooting them in the back of the head. The people who were facing opposite way, and I emptied the magazine and dropped the gun on the floor, pulled out the Smith & Wesson, and started shooting people in the face who were facing me. And most of them, in situations like this, most people freeze. You know, everything just goes silent. Most people freeze. But Evelyn Rothschild, you know, he's hard. You know, I take my hat off to him. I got a lot of respect for the guy. And he got out of the way. He was one of the few people that didn't freeze. And he got shot in the chest, but managed to run off to the right. And then once people realized what was going on, the whole place just erupted then, and people were running around screaming. And I grabbed my wife and my mother-in-law, and we ran downstairs and ran into a car outside, a car waiting for us. And that was...
I got a scratch now again. Okay, I look. No reports on this. Evelyn Rothschild, does he have to do? Is there a bullet wound? But he's going to explain that he's actually probably a clone. And like, look, a shooting at the gala at Sotheby's, like a shooting like of this magnitude, and it's not national news. Like, oh, but it's a big cover up, and it's what they do, and it's what had to happen. No, it's all hush hush, and that was his purpose. Like, this is a very tall tale to try to believe. I mean, we just had, God bless the people in Texas with the shooting. We have these shootings that how could this is like going to the Academy Awards and just brandishing a gun and going, oh yeah, Martin Scorsese got shot in the shoulder, but because he was able to move out of time, and well, okay, so let's talk to Martin Scorsese then and see if he got shot in the chest.
That was one example. There was at least 20 hits I did in America at the time. And this all led up to the situation with me getting kicked out of America. Like I said, I can't step foot on American soil.
Okay, so it's not the fact that he tried to bribe his wife. No. It's because he committed this special secret super soldier program hit at the gala with all these with royalty and everything and the Rothschilds.
It was all set up for once the baby was born, and he was born on a military test facility at Fort Sam. It was all set up that once they got my genes, they would effectively make me leave the country. And my wife and I were living in San Antonio in an apartment there at the time, and Hank started to send his slaves down to infiltrate our lives, his mind control slaves, which will do anything for him under threat of death. And first of all, how the events triggered, my mother-in-law came down and she said, our trustee, another banker, because my wife and I were living off trust at the time, I was effectively a millionaire in the country, said, the trustee has said that you and Haley have to split up. And they were in control of the finances. So I had to leave and go and stay in a hotel in San Antonio. And we'd already gone to San Francisco at the time, just a few weeks before. We got an apartment set up because we were moving to San Francisco. Because I never liked Texas, it was too hot there. And we were supposed to be involved with Dr. Michael Aquino in the NSA. He lives on a place called Russian Hill, near where our apartment was in San Francisco. And I effectively had to leave my family. I'd been separated because I had no financial clout because the trustees and bankers were in charge of our trust. So I had to leave and go to the hotel with my wife and son, traveled up to San Francisco to with my mother-in-law to go up there. And I ended up staying in the hotel for a month. And towards the end of it, San Antonio's crawling with NSA operatives. They approached me again and said, we want you to pick up documents from Fort Sam, which relate to your involvement in the US UFO program.
Here we go.
The space program. And we want you, there's photographs.
Let's bring in the UFOs now.
Of your involvement. There's documents, there's signatures. And we want you to collect these documents from generals at Fort Sam And then we want you to publicize these documents as proof for what you're saying. So
Let me look down.
they delivered a car to me outside in the car park, and it was a blue Mini Cooper with the number plate was 007 SBC.
And apparently, I think Miles is supposed to have a picture of this too.
Miles has seen the pictures. Miles publicised the pictures of that. There was an NSA sticker in the window, Fort Meade, Maryland sticker, Department of Defense.
All right, so if you guys find this picture or Miles or whatever, hey, put a comment. I want to see the picture.
And they delivered the car, and they said, we're sending you a partner to go and collect these documents from Fort Sam.
He itches the whole time, guys. Unbelievable.
Guess who turned up? Max Spears turned up, another NSA operative, and was supposed to be here today, threatening to come here, but he's not because he's a coward. And he turned up, and we drove to the base, met with the generals, picked these documents up, and drove back to the hotel. And we were sitting in the car, and we were just chatting, and he pulled out a pistol from his belt and just aimed it like this at me and shot me in the head.
Great. Okay.
And then stole the documents and walked off with them. He was living in Dallas at the time, and I was down in southern Texas in San Antonio. You know, the guy is like programmed by the NSA to be like my ultimate stalker. You know, the guy's got like a homosexual crush on me.
Oh,
and
go back here for a second.
Everywhere I've been.
That's where Lauren Pritchard gets it. That's where Lauren Pritchard gets saying that Max, is probably gay or he had a crush on CASBOLT, because he said it right there. And watch how he also rubs his lip when he says it.
And then stole the documents and walked off with them. He was living in Dallas at the time, and I was down in southern Texas in San Antonio. You know, the guy is like programmed by the NSA to be like my ultimate stalker. You know, the guy's got like a homosexual crush on me, and everywhere I've been in the world, he gets sent by the NSA to follow me there. And it's been happening my whole life. When I was in Brighton as a youngster, he was there in Brighton. When I went to Texas, he came to Texas. Like I say, he was in Dallas, I was in San Antonio. After all these events, I followed my wife up to San Francisco. He followed me up to San Francisco with his girlfriend, who was his handler. And he was trying to move into my wife's apartment. He was saying the documents included my wife's Monarch triggers. My wife's a presidential model through Gerald Ford in Michigan, near where Kathy O'Brien lived in Muskegon. And it had all our codes on it, which you can get her to do anything if you got the codes, literally anything. You know, if you can tell her a horse is an elephant, and she'll see an elephant. And like I say, he shot me in the head, made off with the documents, and I was...
Shot him in the head and made off with the documents. It's hard. Where's his injury? oh, okay, he's got special, he's clone. They can repair him because he's a super soldier, right? You guys believe that?
I was obviously injured, like seriously injured, picked up by an ambulance and taken to a certain military facility, underground facility in New Mexico desert, in Dulce.
I just see a movie with the reenactment of this. My head's just going there right now.
And my next memory, I woke up on a Greyhound bus traveling through the desert there.
I mean, I love the stories. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, they're just, okay.
And just near the facility there's a big mountain range. And I showed Miles a picture of the base there. And it's got a holographic cover in front of the mountain, which you can clearly see.
The picture. See, here's
the picture.
I showed Miles the picture. Miles, can you show these pictures to us? Curious minds want to know.
And I was regenerated at the facility.
I almost feel bad for him. Like he's just, like, look there. Does he look strong to you? Look at his eyes. He almost seems like I just keep lying and I keep lying and I don't know what else to do, but I'm never going to lose face. I'm going to just keep doing it and keep doing it. That's what I think I read right now. All right.
My injuries were regenerated there and I was healed.
My injuries were regenerated there.
The plan was to say that I lost my family and shot myself in Texas. That was the plan. And they were going to keep me underground. They were going to keep me at Dulce.
Well, that's a clever makeup, right? I mean, they were going to make it look like he was a suicide.
I shouldn't really be here talking to you. I shouldn't really be in the human environment. But here I am, standing there. So, and I'm able to tell you this. I was regenerated at the facility. Then I was kept in a cell there. And like I say, they weren't going to let me out. They were going to keep me down there. But I bust myself out of the facility, which has happened before. I've been kept on military bases, under arrest at military bases, and I've got myself out of them. It's very hard to constrain me.
Thermal Mermaid, are you talking about Nate Gray's Super Soldier Forum? supersoldierblog.com? Okay. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna find it. Okay.
It's hard to contain me. There was generals, U.S. Army generals, and also Navy and Air Force that I was connected to in America in all different states, and I had their phone number, and I was in the cell. I found a way to telepathically dial their phone numbers from the cell with no phones.
Wow.
And
I missed that part the last time. He telepathically dialed the phones.
Through that, I was able to get out the facility and was put on a Greyhound bus by Homeland Security agents and made my way to San Francisco there. And, managed to get back to my family. Spent about a month there. During this time, Haley had plastic surgery and had her face reconstructed, and there was a woman called Lorien Fenton who Miles was involved with at the summit. and Haley's face was all bandaged up. And Lorian was going around telling people that I'd beaten Haley up.
Okay, Lori Benton, again, used to be associated with Revolution Radio, and she was involved in producing those Super Soldier Summits that happened. I also think that she worked on the marketing. She has some sort of prominent position besides having a show on Revolution Radio.
Which I didn't, I nursed her. I looked after her for 2 weeks. After she had the facial reconstruction surgery, because they wanted to get me, because they were going to get me to leave the country, and then they were going to hide her and the baby, and nobody knows where she is. I don't know where she is. I don't know where the baby is. There's rumors that she's in LA. There's rumors that she's in New York. And this, once I arrived in San Francisco, this is when Hank Meyer, Pindar, started to send his slaves to infiltrate our lives. And a whole network of them just appeared.
I mean, why doesn't Pindar just come out and meet him? Like, why does Pindar have to even send his army? Like, Pindar could just, it's Pindar, right?
Psychologists involved. There was divorce lawyers involved. The police were turning up all the time at the door, knocking on the door, harassing us, asking stupid questions like, is the landlord in? Do you know where he is? And this is when Max Spears and Sarah Adams turned up. They were sending Haley about 15 texts a day each.
Oh, I love this part. Here we go.
And they were triggering her through text. And Max Spears sent Haley a text. He'd actually, when I was shot and when I was at Dulce, he waited till I was out the way and was calling Haley and having like 2-hour conversations with her, triggering her to know he wants to have sex with her and all this. And Sarah was contacting Haley saying, I'm bisexual, I want to come up there and have a bubble bath party with you, things like that. And Max said,
now that's rather interesting, right?
if you let Sarah and I come up and kick Michael out and let us move into the apartment, I'll get a job in a heartbeat. And because he was making himself out to be the hero, making me out to be the bad guy, and I'm not a good guy or a bad guy. I'm bad and evil. And all the super soldiers are really dark. They're all involved in human sacrifice, ritual murder, all of them. But I'm the only one who's going to come here and tell you the truth. I'm the only one who's going to...
So you realize he's saying that all super soldiers are engaged in ritual murder, and he's the only one who's going to come out and tell the truth. So that would mean that everybody out there that's selling love and light and I can heal you and I'm a psychic empath and all this stuff is kind of null and void, really. How does that match up, right? Okay, maybe for some people you can answer that, but it just seems questionable. I'm talking to God's source, but let me sacrifice this person during a satanic ritual. Oh, okay. I'll give you money. You're wearing white.
And be honest with you, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and make myself out to be a light warrior and all love and all this, like they all do. Because that's not how it is. All the super soldiers are dark.
So, Lauren Pritchard, I'm reading Lauren Pritchard again because, she's the one that's always out there going, oh, and I'm his twin flame. And she talks about God and being a Christian and everything. But then she morphs it all with all these other goddesses and deities. So she's a crossover, basically. But she's talking about revelations and, she's got it all down. And yet the person that she claims to be a twin flame for was actually, he's basically saying, hey, I'm a Satanist that engages in ritual sacrifices. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
That simple. So they were triggering her, and she agreed. She says, yeah, come up, come up and move into the apartment. And then they kept sending texts saying, yeah, but you got to kick Michael out, like this. So she said, right, you've got to leave, Michael. And I'm like, I left a career, I had a home in England, and your family said if I come to America, I'd be looked after. And I don't know anybody in America. I got no friends. I know where am I supposed to go? And she was basically, that's not my problem. You got to go. You can go and stay in a hotel again. I'd already just spent a month in a hotel in Texas. And I said, well, I'm not going because I don't know anybody. So she says, well, I'm going to call the police. So the police turned up, armed police. And I said, I'm not going to fight you here. So I'll leave. And then I was taken to a hotel again by the police. Spent a couple of weeks in a hotel. Max and Sarah came up, moved into the apartment, and he's posting pictures on Facebook of him holding my son, like shake videos of him like holding my son, shaking my son. Him posting pictures on his Facebook with his feet up in my front room, like, screw you, Michael, like, we control your family now. And Michael Aquino got involved, Lorian Fenton, Douglas Dietrich, Michael Aquino's right-hand man, who he worked with at Presidio. They were all coming to the apartment, and it was just surrounded by handlers. And, Michael Aquino lived near us on Russian Hill, and we were being taken to Bohemian Grove in the area for rituals, satanic rituals. There was a lot of torture going on. Ended up with me in Marin County Hospital through one particular ritual at the time, where I was like seriously injured. And Miles has got the pictures. He publicised those. Me in hospital. There's police guarding my bed. I've got a morphine drip in my arm. And they gave me so much morphine, it didn't actually work. It didn't actually do anything. And I went through a particular satanic ritual, which is very popular, where they crucify you upside down and get a ritual dagger and carve a piece of your liver out in the most excruciating, painful place. And then they feed off the fat around your liver because they believe that it extends their life. And I ended up in hospital through being injured. And then I knew I was taken in by Defense Intelligence Agency, one particular person. I stayed with him in LA after that. I had to get out of the area. Or actually San Bernardino, near LA.
About Michael Aquino for a second, because if you Google Michael Aquino, another Michael Aquino comes up, and it's, again, like I say, people have two names, right? Somebody else is infamous for doing crimes in the Philippines. If you Google it, you'll see it. That's not Colonel Michael Aquino, because if you go to Wikipedia, right, we'll go, if you're looking for Colonel, Michael Aquino, click on to Temple of Set. So basically, there's a whole thing about him a little bit within the Temple of Set information, which I find interesting. But one of the things that they said was that he engaged in psychological warfare. That was Michael Aquino's specialty. So, and just for fun, I'm going to give out the clear definition of what psychological warfare is, and maybe you guys might find that interesting. Let me see, psychological warfare, because it makes me wonder about if that's not what's happening in this media in some ways. All right. Actually, again, I'm just going strictly to Wikipedia, and I know that's questionable, but I think on this is probably pretty accurate. Psychological warfare, PSY war, are the basic aspects of modern psychological operations. PSYOP have been known by many other names or terms, including military information support operations, MISO, PSYOPs, political warfare, hearts and minds, and propaganda. The term is used to denote any action which is practiced mainly by psychological methods with the aim of evoking a planned psychological reaction in other people. Various techniques are used and are aimed at influencing a target audience's value system, belief system, emotions, motives, reasoning, or behavior. It is used, oh, I got a little music going on here. It is used to induce confessions or reinforce attitudes and behaviors favorable to the originator's objectives, and are sometimes combined with black operations or false flag tactics. It's also used to destroy the morale of enemies through tactics that aim to depress troops' psychological states. Target audiences can be governments, organizations, groups, and individuals, and is not just limited to soldiers. Civilians of foreign territories can also be targeted by technology and media so as to cause an effect in the government of their country. There's evidence of psychological warfare throughout written history. In modern times, psychological warfare efforts have been used extensively. Mass communication allows for direct communication with any enemy populace and therefore has been used in many efforts. Social media channels and the internet allow for campaigns of disinformation and misinformation performed by agents anywhere in the world. I just wanted to read that. All right. So think about what we are reacting to when we look at information that we find on the internet, and why is it being disseminated if it is disinformation?
And then I returned to England. Ask
a question.
Yep. What is a super soldier? A transhuman, the next stage in human evolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming about how?
I'll take questions at the end.
Okay.
Next stage of human evolution. Do you see this as being positive, guys? If that is even true.
So I was placed in a tiny little flat with my mother, who's effectively a vampiric control freak, and stuck in a tiny little flat with my mother and stripped of all financial resources.
What a nice thing to say about your mother, right? In public forum. Like, how many people have seen this video somewhere and you can hear him call his mother that? But he was living with her, though. He wouldn't have had anywhere else to go, right? So she was the reason why he had a roof over his head. But, he says this about her.
And that's where I am at the moment. So, and how long have I got left?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, I'll mention the list then for the last 10 minutes. Because I grew up in this Jesuit orphanage in Canada, and because I've been involved with the Vatican, officially been involved with SIS, MI6, and NSA all my life, but unofficially it was run by the Vatican, supported by a lot of soldiers in Opus Dei, religious fanatics who were suicide soldiers. And these people, they wear cilice around their leg 2 hours a day
religious fanatics who are soldiers. So this is like an MK Ultra religious fanatic trained suicide soldier to, I guess, think about it, psychological warfare. Is this not, wouldn't this be, if somebody is doing a political crime, basically, you know, because religion is political, say they're Muslim, right? Just think about that for a minute. Could it be set up like, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Christian, maybe they're a Christian. Maybe they set up a Christian like this. Maybe they, you know, and, you know, look, here, there's a, you know, a shooting at a, and you go, oh, that's a Christian did that. So then, you know, and think about how that's happening in politics. Or, you know, somebody from Russia did it. So there you go. I think maybe some stuff like that might actually really happen. I mean, that's not what we know about intelligence and, you know, like, for example, the Bob Kennedy shooting with Shiraz Iran, right? Saying that he definitely falls into that category. I mean, we've got proof that this stuff kind of happens.
To self-mutilate themselves. It's who is familiar with a salice? Nobody. Okay. Yeah, it's a band with all like blades and nails on the inside, and they pull it really tight.
You know, I mean, they compare. They say, okay, he's a Jason Bourne kind of character, but the Jason Bourne character in the films is not doing, you know, satanic rituals in Mount Shasta. Okay, I mean, that's like a whole nother throw in that these guys that he is pulling into this narrative.
They have to wear that for 2 hours a day to mutilate themselves. They mutilate their backs every day through self-flagellation because they're suicide soldiers. They've been conditioned since they were children for suicide missions, and a list has been drawn up of people who are involved in what I've just mentioned, who are involved against me in what I've just mentioned, and around 50 Opus Dei soldiers have been sent out against these people all over the world, and they can't be recalled now. They've been sent out. Even if people in the Vatican, even if myself wanted to recall them, we couldn't, because they've gone dark. They've changed their identities. They've all taken vows of poverty, so they can't be bought off by the billionaires. And like I say, they can't be recalled. And they've been sent out. The list was published. And already there's about 3 people on the list who have been murdered. And this will continue to happen. And I can't stop it because they can't be recalled. It's that simple. You know, they change their identities. Nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows who they are. So, in essence, a civil war has broken out amongst the super soldiers. And it's their job to survive it, you know. But I told Hank, I told Pindar, I said, I want to be left alone with my family. Don't send your slaves to infiltrate our lives, and everything will be fine. I told him this, and but you know, they were still sent in. So I didn't start this. You know, I said I want to be left alone. I didn't start this, but now events have gone into motion that can't be stopped. And this is all, this war wants to, they want the public to see this war as a demonstration.
Yeah, Thermal Mermaid. I mean, I'm wondering, what happened to the Civil War? I mean, between the super soldiers, because it seems like they're all talking on the same forums together, right? They're all doing each other's shows. Like, where is the war here?
Into super soldier abilities. Yeah. They want to demonstrate us to the public. Like I say, Max Spears was in Brighton, followed me to Brighton, followed me to Texas, followed me to San Francisco, and then followed me over here now. He's in the country and was supposed to be here today, but he's not here. So Mikal has talked about it on Basis 36. I'm being prepared in the Blue Beam type project, being prepared by the Vatican to be presented by the Vatican as someone who was prophesied to come.
Oh, here we go. He's been prophesized to come. Like what? Like he's the Antichrist? I mean, what is it?
A figure named Peter Romanus. And this is all supposed to be a big public demonstration.
So think about it. Okay, he talks about being at Sotheby's with the Rothschild family and royalty at the gala. It was the Met Gala, I think, right? And so he's there at this $10,000 plate function, and he goes into the bathroom like the Femme Nikita and ends up brandishing, I guess, whatever gun he was using. I'm thinking like an assault rifle, right? And shoots people there. Okay. Then later on, Max Spears shoots him in the head, and all of this stuff, right? All of it. And now, he is being groomed by, for something because he's been prophesized, and it involves the Vatican. I don't, where else are we going to go with this? I mean, when people call him a fantasist, that he's nothing but a fantasist, don't you think that they have a pretty good argument, really? Because this is a lot to take in. One individual. And he was in a satanic ritual being crucified upside down where they cut into his liver and ate some of it. Okay. I'm telling you, this is good shit.
The public can see what's going on. And it's very dark. I'm supposed to talk you all through it. I'm supposed to talk the public through it. So there's not mass panic. Of what's occurring here, because ultimately the agenda is there's a lot of these non-human creatures in underground bases, everybody knows. I've seen all different types of races, and they want to bring them onto the surface. And they want to trigger the age of Set. They want to trigger mass chaos in society. And, I've seen non-humans walking around in daylight in America and even in England, in different places.
I think that this part kind of got me, because I think we all have felt that way, that we've seen people that just did not seem human.
Blatantly non-human people walking around. And everybody's so politically correct, nobody will say anything. It's like the emperor's new clothes. People think they're deformed and don't want to be rude, don't want to stare, because they got everybody in a trance. I've seen one guy walking along in a leather jacket and sunglasses on, carrying a briefcase with dinosaur hands. As bizarre as that sounds, big the big like dinosaur hands with claws on, big nails on the end. And it's not any shape shifting. This is what he looks like. And people don't want to look. People don't want to stare because they're politically correct. I've seen women in Michigan with extended necks, extended heads walking around. You know,
Sorry.
and then people doing double takes and then looking at the ground. You know, the whole thing is to trigger the age of Set. It's kind of the age of chaos.
Set, okay, temple
And
set. That's a keynote.
they're doing this with they're spraying a lot of blood, and they're spraying human blood in the air, and other things. And this is creating very much, they just say, as a sexual.
It's like this dude has his hand up, just like, I want to talk, I want to talk.
Live society, and this is causing pedophilia to become rife. It's happening in 1 in every 3 households now, pedophilia, because of all the blood they're spraying in the air. A lot of people are DID, they don't realize they're fiddling with their kids. And you know, like I say, the agenda, this is where it's all moving into. It's not even moving into, it's happening now. So, I mean, you know, that's where it's at. That's where I'm at. I think that's the 10 minutes. How long have I got?
Okay, if we have a quick break, then Tony Topping
No shit, right?
just
I
a
think
quick
people
Q&A,
would
and
stare at dinosaur heads.
Yeah.
or do you want to do a slow Q&A with yourself?
Yeah, you can do a Q&A, that's fine, yeah. I'll just ask me whatever you want.
Okay, well, the material that Michael or James is referring to is on the base
I'll tell you what, if I saw dinosaur hands, I'd be out of there.
project, which we've shot Basis 24, which has got the Gridkeeper in it, and a couple of others, and a long interview with
Oh wait, is that hand part of the what? Because now the hand's moved up. Maybe it's part of that thing right here. But I just keep seeing this one hand just straight up in the air. See, oh, it's part of the.
And that will be
Sorry,
put out in maybe 6 or 7 weeks.
it's part of the thing.
Back archive.
Oh, sorry.
And all the other material that he's referring to is on the Basis project.
I thought that hand just sticking straight up was a real hand. Okay.
Yeah, on YouTube. And some of it's on your site you're pointing. Do you have a website?
Yeah, there's a new website, yeah. JamesCasbolt.co.uk.
Yeah. So if the people want to refer to this, they can. And there's lots of forums on the internet about this. There's an awful lot of controversy about this. A lot of toing and throwing. So, okay.
This is a good crowd, really.
Anybody want to ask questions?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like a David Farman UFO event. It's not like what we saw in, because that was depicted in that How I Infiltrated a Bizarre Conspiracy Cult documentary. The David Farman in Vegas was like no one was there.
like I say, it was the Vatican where I grew up in the Jesuit orphanage in Canada, a place called the Q552 facility. It's in a little small town in the Rocky Mountains called Nelson. And I grew up for the first 4 years of my life there, from 76 to 79. And then was put into a foster family in England.
But that wouldn't make you take part in all this sort of stuff that you've been part of. I mean, it must make you terribly unhappy.
No, I mean, I've enjoyed it, to be honest. So, my body's been changed. My whole brain chemistry has been rewired to enjoy killing. So there's no regrets. Yeah.
If you've killed so many people, and certainly in a very public situation like at Sotheby's, this business with Evelyn Rothschild, I mean, that there must be a public record of him being shot, people being shot in the face, people being, killed. I mean, have you looked for that in the newspapers and seen anything?
There's been some of the murders have been publicised. The one in Sotheby's was brushed under the rug. That was never publicised.
There's going to be a lot of people in that place to brush that under the rug, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
This was the man that got me into this network, got me close to the Rothschilds, was a friend of ours, a man named Peter Lydon, and his picture is on the New York Social Diary. There's actually a picture of me in the this is the New York National History Museum. Miles publicised that picture. They got an artifact out of the cabinet. It's a large topaz called the Brazilian Princess, and I'm holding that. And Peter Lydon standing behind me. He's actually Princess Diana's cousin. I'm Peter Lydon, and he advises Prince William and Kate Middleton on philanthropy, what charities to give to. And he was a friend of my wife and I. He was the one who got me close to the Rothschilds. He was the one who invited us that night in Sotheby's to the place. So some of it for revenge will happen to Diana.
do you think your story is hard for people to believe?
It depends where people's head.
Do you think your story is hard for people to believe? That's a pretty good question, I think.
Heads are at. I produce a lot of proof. What I'm saying.
Really? How about the shot head? What proof? Really? Show me the proof. I mean, he's saying that, yeah, Miles has these pictures, and I had someone in the chat said that it's up on the Super Soldier Forum. Some of the stuff is up there. So let's see the proof.
Obviously, it's really disturbing for some of us to see you say that you enjoy killing.
Yeah.
Going back to when you were growing up, you were desensitized, however you were programmed.
Yeah.
Yep, young child. You wouldn't, if you had a gun now, would you enjoy killing us, or is it only when you get triggered?
Well, I mean, you haven't done anything to me.
Yes. No. You said the guy that sprays the aftershave, he said something dramatic.
Yeah.
You programmed in some kind of way that will set a trigger, so therefore you are not you anymore. And that other alter of you then enjoys the pursuit.
I'm still me, I'm just more pumped up. It activates a lot of the implants in my body. Especially some of the ones around the back of my neck. It's like a kind of crab-like insect. And they go up and they're in the back of the meat of my brain, these implants.
How do you feel about that?
It's uncomfortable.
Do you feel violated?
Do I feel violated? No, I volunteered for it. I don't feel violated. I got no regrets, and I wouldn't change any of it. But it's uncomfortable to have all this stuff in my body. I always have to do things to take the edge off it.
So I'm going to kind of end it here because I feel like it sort of deflates and it goes on. I mean, people ask questions, he answers them. So I don't really think that there's really anything super defining right now that I want to go into. But again, I want to put this in the chat. If you do want to watch the full video and you want to get the full effect of the of the things, I only have so much more time here. Really, I've been going for like a couple of hours, and I try not to go too long. First of all, I appreciate you guys for being here. But before I go, I do want to recap on a few things. Let me stop the share here. Just recap on a few things, a follow up on stuff that I want to talk about the last couple of videos that I've uploaded. But before I do that, let's just show one more time the Lee Veltman.
I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive joy.
To the yard, he ain't never leave his pretty ass pussy on God. Bro, bitches too loud. Walk me to the back, I ain't coming through the crowd.
I just love that. Okay, because I did want to bring him up a little bit and talk about, because like after being gone, the last shows that I did really were pertaining to stuff that was going on surrounding him and some of the paranormal hood situation. I want you guys to be aware of the fact that I have Not My Rabbit Hole podcast on Anchor and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and on Spotify. Please find me on those venues. As a matter of fact, in the description of this video here, you can see the links if you want to join it. I originally uploaded an Anchor and it goes. Now I'm going to upload this video on Anchor too as well. Sometimes if you do go to Spotify, you can actually watch the videos if I've uploaded it, or you can listen to the audio, or sometimes I just do audio there. That's different from here. So just so you know that some of the stuff that I do over there is kind of intersecting with what I put here. One of those things is that there's footage uploaded there. You have to watch it on Spotify though, because Spotify does just show video, but it's the unseen Max Spears videos, that first interview that he gave with Miles in the UK at his grandfather's place that he was staying at that time. And he was intoxicated, all right? Those are the intoxicated videos that, they're uploaded over there to see. Miles had him for a really long time. He basically picked and cherry-picked things and have put them in videos without letting you know the backstory that's actually in this video. So you can only, to my knowledge, unless somebody else has uploaded it, it's only available there on my Spotify. Another thing that I have going on, a show that I did on Spotify, was it's titled Goodbye, R.I.P. Charles from Project Camelot and Other YouTube Tales. And I go into a few things, like I talk, like it just so happened that day when I did record it on the 24th and uploaded it that evening. In the recording, I said it's the 21st, but it wasn't. It was really the 24th. And that day on my Facebook, some of the nasty images or harassment that I had on Instagram, which I believe came from Sarah, all right, happened to, go, do you, like you said this a year ago, do you want to repost it or whatever? And I didn't repost it because it's negative, but I did read it on that show, and the timing of it, because I've been talking about how people get trolled on the internet, and I want you to know maybe the seriousness of this. I also have a playlist on my channel, a Lee Veltman playlist, and so you can find that as well. If you want to look at all of the receipts, as Smoke King likes to say, all of the evidence of what Lee Veltman has been doing online, not only to myself, but to other people, mostly women. And so also, court orders of like restraining orders and unlawful entry and other things that are real court documents about Lee Veltman. And, I played that video. That's not even, I didn't even like create that. That is the other, I put the channel and it's in the chat. I'll do it again and give him a shout out as well. I think it's called LARPing. Let me go back to here again, to the library, my library. LARPing Lee Veltman returns with nothing original. LARP Wars is the name of the channel. And the guy, I've showcased a few other videos, some of what he's done, because there are a lot of people that actually make videos about Lee Veltman, and including this one. Like, this was like not this clip before belonged to another channel.
Triggered. You get to the core of a problem. I've learned these tools. Let me talk! To be able to attack people and to bring out their inner side. When you establish a straw man and start doing these tactics, it's psychological warfare at its finest. It's psychological warfare at its finest.
And what's really ironic about this is that I actually just read about what psychological warfare was and how Aquino is a mastermind of that. How ironic is that? So, but I wanted to address a couple of things about why I showcased Charles. And I'm going to show you the videos that I have. Let me just go to my, let me see. I don't know if you guys can see. Sometimes, okay, good. You can see that. Oh wait, let me take you to my channel. All right, I'm live right now, but R.I.P. Charles from Project Camelot, and I actually included a little bit of footage too in this video. It's not on Spotify of the real Charles, the man who played Charles was on my panel on that show. It was a spring break marathon that I did, and even with just like the beginning, because it was Charles that kind of like. I mean, I've had my suspicions about Lee, and I blocked him because I had a bad, things happen. Had a bad feeling, wasn't feeling comfortable, and it was through Charles and other people in my chat that I realized that Lee Veltman was in my chat doing with sock puppet accounts, and one of those people also who did this is Jeff Reed. Jeff Reed and Lee Veltman was actually contacting him about me, and he was all up in the bunch about whatever I'm saying here on the channel. And because I had blocked him, and because I knew that he was hiding his identity to come into my chat and mess with me, is so covert. And there have been a lot of women who have talked about this harassment. And again, I can take you to the playlist and show you what the playlist is titled. But let me play a little bit, the beginning of this. Matter of fact, I think I might play the whole thing. I want to get to this part about Charles. So Charles and Ben were both on my show. And after they did my show, both of them reported that they were not only harassed and stalked, they were also, I know for sure that Charles was doxxed, and people in his personal life were being stalked after my show. All right. And because it involved other people, Charles has now disappeared. And here we go. Here's what he posted on HPNWO website. A month ago, myself and Ben were guests on a show with our friend Tere Joyce. Immediately after the Tere show, Ben started getting droiked, that means doxxed and stalked, out the wazoo. But in my case, okay, and just so you know, I am reading what was written on Ben the JR Porter. He has a YouTube channel. He was on my panel on the show that day with the man who played Charles. And this is something that he posted on his website. So Charles, by the way, he's disappeared. He's gone. He's dumped his emails, everything, because he was stalked. And people in his personal life were stalked after being on my live stream. And you know what? I've had a few people say like, oh, really? Like as if, oh, I can't believe that could actually really be happening. Really? Like, I hate to say that I'm scared because I don't want to give anybody any pleasure, but it bothers me to think that one of my guests and a person who actually was involved in divulging and exposing Lee Veltman and what's going on, and then the whole thing with Paranormal Hood happened. Paranormal Hood ran him through the trash on their channel too, and posted things on YouTube that were rude. And I had people come to me after I did that broadcast and accuse Charles of perping on women. And those are some serious accusations. I see no evidence of that happening, but I see a whole lot of evidence happening with Lee Veltman. And do not come to my channel. I'm annoyed by this. I had a comment on that video that was like, I had to go banter back and forth as if what I was saying didn't happen and it doesn't matter. Well, you know what? Maybe it's going to matter to you when you have to go off social media because you are being stalked and people in your personal life are being stalked. And if that ain't some serious shit, I don't know what else is. And I miss Charles. I enjoyed him in my chat room. I enjoyed his sense of humor. And you know what? It's a real bummer that you creeps had to do this to him. Oh, and you know what, Donnie? Use that on your show on Paranormal Hood and go ahead and talk about it because it happened. And you refuse to take any accountability for it. Or the fact, you know what, I popped in the other night, Stephen Cambion was on air the same time you were. All right. He had 129 people in there watching his show, and you had about 9. And all those people are the same old group. Lee Veltman's there, Jolly Bridgeburner's there, all the main culprits. Drew's Jay, all of you guys are there hanging out with your little wrenches. And Smoke King is going, and I can see Jolly Bridgeburner right. Oh, how's the failed comedian doing? Right? It's in the chat. I didn't click onto the show. I don't want to listen to it. Right? But I would think, what's the main, you accuse me when I came to you and asked you about Lee Veltman and what he's doing to women on the internet. And is this what our community should be allowing here? You blamed me for disrespecting Jiggy. I didn't even really know who Jiggy was. And you put on this whole band show about me and this and that, and you have the receipts and blah, 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 blah. You know what's disgusting? That you commit a non sequitur, illogical fallacy to cover your fucking ass. And you know what? If I were his family, I would be upset that you are protecting a perp on the internet, someone who countless videos. Some of the people on my playlist, I have actually not my videos, but I included in my playlist. If you want to look at what everybody else is saying, other people are saying, I've shown evidence, and you sit there behind your camera and smoke your blunt and say, oh, they're all Karens. Really? That's your excuse? And then you run and call me a homophobe? You call Charles a homophobe? As far as I'm concerned, you guys are disgusting. And you know what? There's a big reason why nobody's watching your channel anymore. And you should think about that. That's what I have to say about that. That's what the college student came back to say. I'm unhappy that 2 of my guests were stopped. And you know what? I think we can theorize and hypothesize and point a finger to where that comes from. And just watch those videos. You'll see it all be played out. I have the receipts. All right? There's people in my real life who have nothing to do with YouTube but started being cyber stalked. Something similar happened after my appearances on Erica Luke's. Personally, I don't care if idiots say I'm the... And one more thing, Mr. Burger King. I sell drugs at the back of a Burger King while I worked my way up to manager. I heard of how you get to be manager at Burger King. You got to know how to do the fry and everything else. And you got to know how apparently sell drugs out of the back of it. Okay. You have to realize, anyway, I really think it's horrible what you've done. And all I've done is speak out for the abuse and the trolling that's going on your channel that you protect, obviously. Second coming of Genghis Khan, but it got serious and innocent parties being targeted. And I can't have this happening. I've closed my channel and my emails as a consequence because I heard Smoke King, previously drug dealer at Burger King, that you're actually filming in the basement of your mother-in-law. Wow. I heard. Are you filming in the basement of your mother-in-law's house, smoking your blunt, doing what you're doing? You know what? After that many years of you having that channel and you have that low of a turnout and they're all the same trolls that are like working, that are all together. Oh, I'm not associated with these people, but they happen to be the only people watching my channel. You've run this brand to the ground. As far as I'm concerned, with 2 episodes on Amazon Prime and this is all you got. Wow. And then, that's why I'm not worried about you, because you're talking in your own echo chamber, trying to intimidate me with, letters. Yeah, screw it. You're the guilty person. I'm just exposing what's going on. And then I asked you to do something about it, and you didn't. You're fine with it. And what does that say about what you think about women? No, I'm taking it there because it's happening to mostly women. It has never gone this far before. Neither myself or Charles will be on SM hereafter. So if you were contacted in my name, then it is a faux account. As my last message to Glorious, if sometimes unhinged, HPANW mob, if Ben ever starts to turn septic, then in heaven's name stop him. The tinfoil hat of Falstaffian buffoonery and the pulverizing corked hat of the mumbling bulldozer are 2 streams that should never be crossed. Otherwise, Zool will manifest and destroy the earth. Now he's being funny there, right? It's the way of things. Waste no opportunity to say absolute rubbish, dribble, piffle, and spruik are equally valid. And look after Ben. Remember, he's our buffoon, and no droid-tinged grubby mitts shall touch him. I had a good run with the HPNWO mob, but the golf clubs are buried in that organic garden on planet Serpo. Thanks for the ride, guys. My name is Charles, and I am forever an assassin to the elite. Looks like he's quitting the online world. I've wished him all the best and hope he comes back one day. And that little part right there was actually Ben's message to me. So I wanted to read that to you guys and share that with you, that he is gone. They were harassed after doing my show, and Charles from Project Camelot has been very much a part of this exposure of Lee Veltman and the people that are associated with him. He used to go under the persona of Charles from Project Camelot. He was Charles Unleashed for a while. He had some very interesting some very interesting videos. They were oftentimes funny, and he has gone dark. And I think it's sad. I think it's sad for somebody like him. And he went by the name like Charles. He it was a shtick. He was an assassin for the elite. And it was based on a man who was interviewed by Project Avalon, Bill Ryan. But it wasn't really the real guy. Okay, there's a real guy named Charles, and he's supposed to be an assassin for the elite. And it's a very interesting video, but it's not the real person. It's somebody who's made a fake persona based on that one guest. Okay, so it's just sad. It's sad to have another YouTuber be railroaded off of the internet because of other people associated with other YouTube channels in this UFO media. And I want to play for you. It's just it's really probably the little bit of remnants of a video that Charles. Oh God. You're not had, it. And it was about Lee Veltman. And it's this video that was the catalyst to all of the research on the suicide trolling, finding out, the genesis of more about Lee Veltman and the women that are victims of him, as well as his association to certain YouTube channels such as Paranormal Hood. So at this moment, I just want to play a little bit of what we have left of Charles from Project Canada. It's nice when we all like meet each other again. It's like we're having a little party. And this is kind of how I'm looking at this, like looking at some of this footage. It's like, let's just kind of go and review it. But before I start, I want to show, because I planned this too, so I'm glad Charles Unleashed is here. I want to show a little bit of Charles' recent, one of his recent videos. And I was kind of confused about who it was. And so I'm not going to, say anything yet, but I'm going to play his video that spurred me on to take a look at a few things that I think you guys should know about. Again, I don't want to take too much time up on this, but I definitely do want to do it. So let me get this set up here for a minute. And okay, so and then I want to oh wait, let me expand this. Okay, so I'm guessing you guys see this okay, right? Okay, yeah, it's the one. All right, so let's go. Let's play this.
Now, the links and connections is a lab been going since 2011 at least, and on the surface sounds plausible because that connects to a couple of individuals who say they were connected to certain cults which gave them access to certain high-profile celebrities and very real high-profile abuse cases, even though they've never actually been able to provide an actual link and connection all those fucking years. Now, all of this connects back to a certain privileged rich boy from a certain wealthy family who was never an abused child, never in a cult, and spends his entire day larping on the internet while shoveling sherbet up the Uter. Don't fucking deny it. And this is coming from his own nearest and dearest who want nothing to fucking do with him because they're sick and tired of him talking shit about them. Because he didn't find life the way he wanted and was kicking off like a privileged little fucking bastard all his life. Now, over the years, all the links and connections of the connections that link to those connections and those connections, the other links and connections, he's never actually been able to provide a link and connection.
So we know he's talking about Lee Veltman.
Other than links and connections that cannot commonly be found by anyone who has an internet, connection. And this in itself connects to planet-sized sense of entitlement, which connects to thinking he can have anything he bleeding well wants, including people. And that connects to fits of narcissistic rage when everything don't go the way he wants it to go, you see? So he spends his entire life connected to the internet, pretending to be connected to things he's never been connected to, while LARPing, stalking, and doxing because he can't have his own way. Now it goes like this. He will pick out some nice girl that he takes a shine to, and he will hound her for months and months and months for her to give him her personal details on the pretext that she has been specially chosen to appear in a live stream exposing high-profile abuse cases and exposing what he calls the troubled teen industry, which I'm sure some of that does exist.
Okay,
But,
so I'm going to stop it here because, you know, it is...
So this will be, I
Now,
guess this docu-series will come out.
the real Charles, see, the man who played Charles was a guest on 04/17/2022.
Kevin Moore show on YouTube, then you follow me on that, and it's going to change names soon. Yeah.
I want to ask another question about the, this is him right here. This is him. That is the man who played Charles on the left-hand side. There's Ben the J Porter, okay? There's Kevin Moore. That's Nate Gray. And this is a guest, the Swami from El Monte. He was the comedian with this cookie and the psychic dog. Okay. Mark Richards' case. I'm trying to remember because like Kevin and I had done it. We did a show, our first time ever doing an interview. We interviewed each other in Altadena, California. I guess maybe that was like almost 2-3 years ago now. At least two years. Yeah. Okay. So I thought at that time that you said that this was one of the first D&D, Dungeon and Dragons type of cases. Like were they? Now we're talking about Captain Mark Richards now, all right? Or let's just say Mark Richards. Is it associated to Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes. Yeah. There's so much to this case. I can barely remember it sometimes. I mean, I got to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning because I was working on Mark Richards last night. I'm tired and everything. Of course, yes, Dungeons and Dragons. That's a big part of what that's included in this docu-series. Yes, that was in there. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because
I do have one question.
All right.
If I may.
Yeah. Go ahead. So now this is his real voice. This is the real Charles. Not Charles. We don't know who he really is, right? He's kind of a mystery too.
What do the Baldwin family think of all this being dragged up, and how are they involved?
Well, I actually went to Maine to go see Susan Baldwin. I believe she's the only surviving member of the Baldwin family. And it's really weird, right? Obviously, this is my first true crime thing, but maybe it will be my last. I don't know, probably. Who knows, right? And she was so devastated. She was so devastated, that I was there, that it was being talked about again, that there was someone called Kerry Cassidy and Joanne Richards who didn't give a fuck, right, about her brother. And they've called him a pedophile. That Mark Richards says that there was child pornography found around the house, and and that he got what he deserved in a way. And there's nothing she can do about it. He's serving the maximum. I mean, she's reported it all to the DA because she's got close ties with him in California still, right? So she can, she told me to. I wasn't allowed an interview with her. It was lovely. It was great to see her, right? Just to know that she's real, right? And that. Just to be in her presence, but she was devastated. And I think what was difficult.
This, right? It's got her blessing that you're going ahead with.
No. She don't want nothing to do with it. No. She was as upset. It was like being with someone and the murder just happened a few years ago, but it's 39 years ago, right? And I only saw her through the porch door, right? I wasn't allowed in, and that's fine. And I went without permission to go see her. Do you know what I mean? But how was I gonna get? I was pulled to go there. But she did say a few things, and we've got it on tape as well. That she feels that Cross and Hoover should never get out. She feels that both Mark and Crossy are where they deserve to be as a public safety. It was funny because the actual cops that I'm one of the cops that was involved in interviewing Mark back in the day in 1982 and arresting his ass and being part of the case leading up to the discovery of the body to arresting Mark to. Even speaking to him now, all right. He did say that, that Mark is still a dangerous man because he said what you've got to realize is, he can influence the date to kill his
it's on my channel. You can watch the whole thing. There's a little bit more footage of some of his a little funny clip from a remaining video of his. My bangs are screwed up right here. Okay. Apparently, according to the Jolly Bridge Burner and the grannies. I have female pattern baldness, and I'm wearing a bang clip, but that's really actually my bangs. Yeah, the rumors, right? I mean, the stories continue. I just find it funny anyway. All right, so I want to bring another thing to your attention. There's a woman. Ironically, this just happened today. She actually, go to my library here, was online earlier, and I want to it's somewhere around here. Okay, she's going to get to Lee Veltman and Jolly Bridgerunner. This was just done today. This is how ignorant my psychotic stalkers are. And if you're popping in late, thank you for checking in. I encourage you, if you're here to hear about James CASBOLT. I did the first, almost 2 hours on him, but this is just like the little tail end of a few things that I are talking about. Maybe this is more interesting to you. I don't know. I'm talking about people that are associated to this media. They've been around for a long time, and one of them being Lee Veltman and Jolly Bridgeburner, causing distress, basically harassing and bullying on YouTube, primarily women. And here is another woman. This is how ignorant my psychotic stalkers are. And this was posted today. She did this live stream a little bit before I started mine. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring myself back here in the pic. Let's go with this. Oh, no, too big. Okay, there we go.
A YouTuber told me that, I can go into his chat and hang out. I go in there, there's Jolly and Lee. Now, of course, I don't want to say anything about Lee because he's not.
Maybe I will make it
running around. He's not
There's no image.
obsessing like his psycho friend Jolly is. So when I was invited into the chat, I felt as though it was a trap.
Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen. I had
Jolly can go there, knock me around.
Back in, I believe it was 2015, a guy named fucking Freddie, I agreed to talk to him in a Google chat, and then Lee Veltman was there and somebody else, and I felt ambushed.
I fired back. She goes into a rage, saying that she wants to come to my country. She actually wants to leave her country, Australia, and come here to confront me. She don't want to know who I am.
Can you believe that?
I'd knock that bitch on her fucking ass.
According to this woman, and I had a question. Who is this? Okay, this is her. She goes by Tams. I really don't know much of the details yet. I just know that she's mentioned Lee Veltman. I played a video of hers. I mirrored her before. But she's saying that Jolly Bridgeburner is, let's hear it again. She's saying that Jolly Bridgeburner is threatening to come find her in the United States.
To leave her country, Australia.
Let's go look back a little bit farther. I want to
go there, knock me around. I fired back. She goes into a rage, saying that she wants to come
farther.
Because
come on.
It's happened with glass. A YouTuber told me that, I can go into his chat and hang out. I go in there, there's Jolly and Lee. Now, of course, I don't want to say anything about Lee because he's not running around. He's not obsessing like his psycho friend Jolly is. So when I was invited into the chat, I felt as though it was a trap. So that, Jolly can go there, knock me around. I fired back. she goes into a rage, saying that she wants to come to my country. She actually wants to leave her country, Australia, and come here to confront me. She don't want to know who I am. I'd knock that bitch on her fucking ass. So she better stay in Australia. She knows that she came at me first. And it started with Betty Washam. When I was introduced to Betty, I would hang out in her.
I don't know who Betty is, but I just wanted to play that part to you guys because I don't know what else do I need to do, like to have receipts here. Like what else? Oh, none of them. They're all null and void. You just want to turn your eye like this isn't really happening to people. Think again. Another woman is now talking like, and Jolie Bridgeburner's right in there, right in with the gang. You know what's really shocking the most, Robin Eaglesong and Maggie Woodward and Jolie Bridgeburner, is that you are women defending a man who is perping on women. What kind of women do that? I just want to know. What kind of women, and do it with him. Man, there's some fucked up shit going on there. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Okay. Now, another thing I want to show you. Oh, and then I want to recap on something else that another video that actually concerns another person that I've been following this year, which is a woman that goes by Team Rose. And Team Rose, you probably know her, Rose Blueprint 4848. She's come back into the forefront, for me anyways, where I stumbled on some stuff from her before. She was in the UFO media. She does several videos about, Simon Parks and this and that, and Barbara Melchiak, the Palladians. And rightly so, she has her channel. She can do whatever she wants, right? I mean, like at one point I used to watch her. I used to kind of like her. She's kind of found her to be kind of quirky, but there's another side going on. And the side that I question is the one that, got a lot of hits for saying that, somebody was channeling Max and going with this whole Max channeling theory. Well, Max is still alive. I don't think he's dead. She was featured. I've talked about her. She's featured on the BBC documentary about Max Spears as being the loony people, the fringe people. And I know that is the segment that she was showcased on. And then come to find out, this lady's actually an actress. Her name is Deborah Director, and she had a part. And she's on I know the name, Deborah Director. I'm not doxing you because that's your acting name, and it's on the IMDb platform, right? Because in the bedroom starts Sissy Spacek, Marissa Tomei, and Tom Wilkinson. Okay, and yeah, all right. So here she is. She's an actress, but she has, and you can have different, YouTube profiles. The problem is that she harasses people like a Lee Veltman, right? Like, who changes his, sock puppet accounts or whatever, and was causing disruption, got kicked out of a chat room, and now she's back in the chat room. But in the center of this is a missing little girl named Harmony Montgomery. And the thing that I thought was weird, because I knew Rose had several different Facebook profiles. Now that's different. Facebook Meta, that's different. If you've got a lot of like Facebook profiles, really, I think you're really only supposed to have one. Now I know, some people have more than one or whatever, and one of the profiles that I was friends, see, and I've explained why it's not cool to have multiple profiles on Facebook. One is that if you you feel like you're being stalked by somebody and you block one of the profiles, they still have access to you if you don't remember that you're friends with the other profile. That's That's per like 101 lesson. All right. Watch people that have multiple profiles and make sure that there is a fallout, that you remember to block the other person, because they will be keeping a tab on you and you won't know it. Another thing too is that when you have if you're having a debate or you're having an argument with them online, they can actually respond in another profile. So you think you're maybe fighting with 2 or 3 people. It looks like there's a consensus publicly against your opinion, and therefore, but the person's dirty. It's just them the whole time. And yes, it happens. And it happens here on YouTube. We know this, right? So when you're seeing these things happen, and this is a fact. And I caught her in this. I caught her in it. And I'm not going to apologize. I question it. And I question the specific profile, which was titled Crystal Rose Montgomery, which she's changed now. However, I have a screenshot of it, and I've actually shown part of what that profile had in it. And she was doing a lot of medical misinformation and what you would call 17th letter of the alphabet kind of sentiment things. And I question people, like we're talking about psychological warfare. Remember I talked about psychological warfare, which was Michael Kino specializes in, and propaganda, what happens on the internet and things like that. Just think where that leads. Who's disseminating that information? She's an actress. All right, I'm hypothesizing here. But actresses are really great on YouTube. Right? Like I'm an actress. All right. Actors, I've said this before. You think they're crying. You think something's going on. You don't know that. You don't know if they're, there's one guy that I was interviewing that I thought that he wrote The Real Matrix. I caught him acting because he was crying and then he lost his place and he looked down at his script. I was like, nah. And I had a second opinion on that. Matter of fact, I asked Vanessa Bates, whose father was a legendary actor. Right, Percy Herbert. I said, "Is this acting to you?" I'm pretty sure you probably know what that looks like. Oh yeah, that looks like acting. I think you're right. I found all the theater productions he was working. Blah 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 blah. I had to dump his shit. I felt duped. That is exactly what is going on. So Deborah is in the public. It's being talked about again because Avery Shannon is a YouTuber that does true crime that was associated with Dolly Vision. She has the same opinion I do. She says, I left because they were doing too much drama, too much trauma. A lot of these people, and this site, basically, Jimmy Jan's TV and Dolly Vision, what they do mostly is they talk about a little girl, missing girl named Summer Wells. And all these people come in and they give all these theories. And I think it's there to make people look like they're nutty. They come up with the, satanic theories and this and that, but it's meant to make it all look hokey, like, oh, she's not trafficked or anything. Well, we don't know that. There's a lot of awful, awful, disgusting things that happen in this world. But if you have a channel where you're selling t-shirts and you're creating like drama and this and that, and you know what, Rose, you're playing a part in it. I don't know if you watch my videos or not, but she plays a part in it, and she's an actress, and she has different channels, and she has multiple profiles, and one of them was another missing little girl, Harmony Montgomery. Avery Shannon was talking about it, and it just so happens Rose goes nuts over her specifically. And she accused Avery of hiring a hitman and all this kind of stuff. Well, now it comes out that, and I have this on my Spotify, it's not all on this version, but it's Dolly Vision, and it's like, did Dolly Vision dox another YouTuber's child? And there's like this rapper and her child is disabled and also gender confused. And the guy's like trashing her child for being gay and all this kind of stuff. And pretty much admits that he was paid by Jimmy. Like she's the one to get a restraining order, and then she brings up Rose in the mix of this because Rose played a part in accusing her of all this stuff and all this stuff is going on. And I thought the reason why I even lifted the lid and looked into it is that I thought, first of all, I knew Rose from the Max Spear stuff and the Super Soldier stuff and like what kind of role she's played in media, been an actress, been over here in the BBC. I learned that later when I started looking into this. I thought that Crystal Rose Montgomery may have been her real name. And I thought she was upset because the father that was in custody of the little girl before she went missing, his last name was Montgomery. And she's kind of, I think she's sort of in that area. She has Airbnbs. I was just wondering. And I asked it, and she just went off on me, called me a clone. All these women who do these conspiracy stuff, and they like, for example, Lauren Pritchard or whatever, whenever I question something about them, there's always something fantastical, like I'm a clone or I'm AI or somebody hacked my consciousness or I became a normie and I'm boring, whatever. But I thought it's like, wow, I'm bringing it up because I'm talking about what happens on the internet, what people are doing to each other. You are harming people's lives, and you're not only harming their lives, you're not only harming their lives, but you're harming the people in their lives. And from my understanding, I knew Charles was going to leave because he had sent me messages too a few days before it happened. And why? And he said, it's gone too far. It's affecting people in my life. And that's where they cut it off. How scary is this? And this community, look, hey, Smoke King, you're just going to give a non sequitur and accuse me of saying something bad about Jiggy in order to deflect the responsibility of having this end to people on the internet? Shame on you guys. And all of you guys that sit out there and act like, oh, it's nothing, you're making it up, blah, 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 blah. Is this real? Yeah. Well, shame on you. Shame on you when I know that you may not even be who you say you are, MK Ultra Girl. I don't like it. I don't like it when I know somebody's a regular on my channel and they leave a comment like, really, like what, like really, like, well, he'll be back. He'll just get another email. Okay, well, let's see if that happens. Let's see if Charles, but we saw Charles's face now. We saw his face. So he's not Jolly Bridge Burner. Who the hell knows what she looks like? It's real safe to do what you do and not show your face. We know Lee Veltman. Lee Veltman's out there. But what about some of the rest of y'all hanging out? But some of you showed your face. Interesting. So, one more thing I want to bring up. And that's on a video too on my channel. It's a Dolly Vision one if you want to look at it. And if you want to go to my Spotify, again, it's my most recent upload. If you want to hear all of it all together, wrapped up together, because I kind of put it all together in one. Because this trolling stuff has got to stop. What's happening to YouTube people? Are they protected? We have people who are dead. We have people that are dead and their deaths are suspicious. And you want to go around and do this shit? You want to go around and you want to sweep it under the rug like it's nothing? No, I don't think so. It's not okay for me. It's not okay with me. I want to feel safe on YouTube. I want to feel safe in this platform. And yeah, if you are selling something or you're giving some story out or blah, 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 be prepared to be investigated on it. It should happen that way. We should be those kind of people. That's what I think. What has it done for us to just blindly believe or accept be told what to do and nod our head and do it. Like as if the person telling you to do something it has your goodwill in mind. Right? Go back to 1939. Yeah. Jolly Bird. Well, we will never know, right? I mean, Terry is not a clone. Yeah. Okay, so one more person, and he's kind of not really a part of this community, although he does talk about Hollywood. And it's a channel that he has called Sloan. And he's talking about I'm going to try to pull up the first one here. Wait, I was just looking at it. Okay. This is an update. But I want to go to the other one, the first one, just so you can get a feel of I want to show a little bit of the first one. He made this video yesterday about 4:00 in the morning, and he's covered things about Bob Saget and stuff like that. Imagine what that might be about, or Britney Spears, and he's looked into the kind of the Hollywood abuse that happens and just different things. Okay, so he's gotten really popular, and he has moved down to West Hollywood, and I want to show you what is going on with him as well. And
I don't even know how to start this. I just need to do this or even like records state. So it's Saturday, May 28th at 4:06 p.m. on the Pacific time. And I just had one of the most scary experiences of my life. I don't even know how to deal with that. I'm just kind of what the fuck was that? Okay, guys. I'm just honestly, I don't even know why I'm doing this. It could be for awareness sake. I think I was talking to one of my good friends. She's like, you should just talk about it if you talk about it. I just had a really scary experience. So some of you guys may know that I moved to Los Angeles not too long ago. And it's been a good time so far and everything. But I've had this weird fear of not only being out here because of people I talk about or the industry and everything, because I talk about shit in the industry, but I've been scared of being out here because I've been scared about all so there's been obviously I'm just scared of my door opening or something because there's this guy wearing a completely black mask all over his face. Angel, this alley.
He usually does really good videos. He's not normally like this at all. Matter of fact, I've never seen him like this. But this just happened to him recently. I'm showing you this because this is what's happening to people on YouTube. Okay? Because of what they're saying, I think. Where does this go to?
Home. And it's a scary alley. It's known to be a scary alley. I've known this, but I've walked through it before and I was fine. And when I was walking across to my street, there's this guy and he was trying to hit on me and try to do things to me. And that's just kind of how West Hollywood is. I'm not used to this. I'm from Virginia. I'm not used to being around people that are constantly gay all the time, which is fine. I love it because I feel accepted, but at the same time, I don't feel safe because I already felt he was trying to do something to me. This man who's really nice. He was a Hispanic man, probably a few years older than me, maybe 2 inches shorter than me, and he was fine. He was nice. He was trying to hit on me. I told him I didn't want to, and he was totally fine with it. I asked him if he would walk me home because I already felt kind of scared because there were so many people wandering around the street. Granted, it was 3 a.m. at this point. So then I walked.
3 a.m.
He walks me. He's a gentleman in the sense that he walks me to my house. we actually walked past my house, which is like the weird part. Now that I think back at it, I didn't even think about this part yet. So we walked past my house and then we walked back. So I guess this gave whoever this man ample opportunity. So my house is like, has private gates in the front and there's like bushes. You can't really see, like there's private gate, and then there's like another gate, and you enter in this gate and there's like private bushes.
Okay, so I'm gonna
like,
stop this here because he's gonna show you what this dude was looking like. All right, it's freaking trippy, man. 27. This guy's really well. This guy, he has a big channel. You know, this is like no, he doesn't do. He's not a Karen, really. I mean, this guy has a very successful YouTube channel, like the kind of success we don't want. I mean, he has like 678K subscribers. All right, he's very popular, really, and you know, he covers Hollywood stuff, right? Okay, and his shows are good. They're professional. Now here's him feeling better, but he's going to explain what happened to him.
Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do an update video because the last time I posted a video, you guys saw that I was extremely emotional in a panic state. And honestly, I'm still really unsettled. But I've gotten so many people who've reached out to me that I needed to come on here and just to tell you guys, yes, I'm physically okay right now.
You're misperceiving him right now. I'm going to argue on your comment, Angel. Like he's not. I'll show you one of his other videos so you can get a feel about what he really does. He's not in our world. All right. Number one, he's not a UFO person. He's not a conspiracy person. He talks about like Britney Spears and things like this. Like I don't think he's lying about what happened to him. That's why I'm showing it, because it's unusual. It's uncharacteristic. This person is not part of our world, really. Sort of, but not. I mean, I talk about Hollywood stuff, right? I mean, you realize, okay, but here.
I'm still really shaken up and I don't feel safe out here, but I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what's happened since, because like this story, it's like I'm like trying to find some peace in this situation, which is really hard to come by. And if you guys watched my previous video, you would know that like this guy walked with me towards back to my home. And then when we got to my home, there was this guy wearing like a black suit. And I actually want to show you guys what it looked like. So this is like the black suit that this person had on. It's called a Morphe suit, but thing on top of it. So I saw him. I was really shaken up, super scared, screaming at him, "Get out of here, get out of here." I called police at 3:22 a.m. and they didn't do anything. They were super dismissive.
Okay,
I
so
felt
basically
like in a state of shock because it was 3 a.m. here
to get a gun,
in Hollywood, and I don't have anyone here. I don't have like friends or family. I mean, I have some friends that I've made, you know, like
shows like is in his yard. Let's get to here it is. All right.
But I found this right outside my house, and I do remember when he was running away. Let me turn the brightness down. I remember when he was running away, I heard like almost like he threw something. Like I thought maybe he threw a phone, threw something else. I don't know if this necessarily came from him because it was 3 a.m. when it happened, and I heard something, but I didn't like see anything.
Then
but literally,
it's wrapped in electrical tape, okay? And then he talks about how I'm going to show you another video so I can give you a flavor who he is. He talks about how like the electrical tape might be because like if you're stabbing somebody, the tape gives you more grip if there's blood. Seriously, okay? Oh, yes, I am sometime long ago. The scammers are all. No, this is not. I'm sorry, Angel. I disagree. I don't think that he, i.e. Jeffree Star, they're dirty this BS all the time. No, I don't. Okay, I don't know about his association to Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star isn't he the trend the Jeffree Star? I think he would be somebody who comment. He's not what you think he is. I mean, you know, I'm kind of surprised you guys are just assuming like. Matter of fact, I'm going to look up just because I'm going to look up Jeffree Star and him. But here, like for example, to give you an example of a video that he has. For example, this is an example of a video of what he normally does, just so you can get a flavor of it. He's very well produced.
At this point, Britney Spears' father deserves jail, and now he's currently running from the law. Britney's lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, told the court that Britney's father is trying to traumatize and bully his own daughter with these legal requests. As you guys know, Britney Spears was trapped in a conservatorship for 13 years by her father. And at this point, she's gone through enough. I don't know why he's running away like a coward. So at this point, Jamie Spears is refusing to sit down for a deposition,
he obviously manicures his eyebrows. Okay, I mean, that's not the fucking point here.
A meeting where he can get questioned about his behavior as conservator. So Matthew Rosengart just filed a new filing in the court on Wednesday, and he needs a deposition from Jamie Spears. He's not backing up, and Jamie's not.
Because he's really thorough. I mean, some of these celebrities have tried to sue him and stuff like that, and they've not won. Like, I don't think he's just talking shit. Like, he's not a LARPer, guys. If that's what you're insinuating, he's not from our world. Like I said, it's just another person. He's like another person out there and he's really popular and, you know, has an in with stuff. Like, he didn't live in Hollywood. He's in Hollywood now, and now he's being attacked. And that's what I'm saying, what goes on in Hollywood. Like, you guys don't sit back and go, oh, like, this isn't really happening. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Oh, but you might want to sit here and just go, oh, this is not happening. All right, you know what? I think, okay, who's Greasy Granny? Greasy Granny, what, did Hoaxstead decide to show up now? See, you fuckers show up. I'm beginning to wonder about a lot of people, really. You know, I mean, you guys show up when I'm doing, like, is that you, Angel? Are you actually, because you know what? I'm going to say something about your thing. You kind of look like Hoaxstead. I've always thought that. They have names like that. Is that, because, like, now that I'm showing this, I guess I hit the vein, right? I hit the vein right now. So you guys don't show up when I hit the vein. Huh? Right? That little area, that little Hollywood area, right? Is that it? What are you doing here then? You just watched a whole hour of James CASBOLT. If you're not interested in the UFO community, because that's what he represents. Right? Oh, now Greasy Granny loves Sloan. Right. Okay. You know, Granny, I'm not really a fan of Granny's right now. I'm blocking you. And Angel, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. She might have serious mental issues because she's been used as a slave the whole time. You know, people make money off of her. How do you know what causes her illness? We really don't know. Obviously, she's practically 40, and her father has a conservatorship over her. It's something to question. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna say goodbye because it's okay. Well, you know what? I've seen you before. I've seen people like you come in, and I got weird shit going on. So, let's just leave it at that. You have grace today, okay? Oh, look, my numbers went up. They knew I was talking about them. Somebody give a signal. Yeah, she's talking. She's doing it. All right. On that note, here's an oldie but goodie, and I want to go out on that. Just for fun. There we go. Feels apropos for some reason. Okay, here we go. Goodbye, you guys. If you want to support my college fund, you can do that at patreon.com/Tere Joyce. / not my rabbit hole. And also I got Venmo and PayPal at hollywoodhempress@gmail.com. All that information is in my description. So, and thank you so much for your support by being here. Also, I have CBD products. There's a link on that too. That's another way that you might want to support me and get something for yourself at the same time. I love their products, and so I stand by them. CBD BioCare. And thank you, Anon. Thank you. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, you're all right. Maybe sometime you'll come on my show and do a live stream. We can see your face. Be like Charles. All right. Okay. Angela A. Pavlov's clever name. I got to give it. I got to give your name as clever. I like it. All right. Until next time. Take care. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me, and I really appreciate it.